These two grown men had never seen the Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
Look around your world, pretty baby. Is it everything you hoped it would be? The wrong guy, the wrong situation, the right time to roll.
Two grown men had never seen the Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome to episode 68 of America's Barley Basket. I am Nathan Fulsebuck. Sitting next to me, physically, is Marlon Wells.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlon.
How are you?
I'm a birthday boy.
That's a boy.
Greased up.
That's a birthday boy.
Not my birthday suit yet, but we got a ways to go.
Oh, if you want to wait until...
I'm wearing too much denim to casually strip down. There's a lot of buckles. Like getting out of a parachute.
Yeah,
you do an equipment check. I need someone to be behind me.
Too many D-rings on this outfit for me to take it off spontaneously.
D-Day paratrooper. We got to do a check before we leave the house. Roommate 1, check. Roommate 2. When this red light turns green.
Go.
Just eat shit right out the door. These boys ain't good at walking. Lay down too much. Send them back to basic living.
These boys lay down too much. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
So this is my birthday party.
Yeah, birthday boy. You did wear proper pants today and everything.
Yeah.
Impressed.
You growing up, you ever have any, like, were your birthday parties like magical, or were they pretty plain Jane? Mine sure were.
They were always just like, you have a sleepover. It's the only time you ever had a sleepover. Like, invite a couple of buddies from school and they ride your bus instead of theirs.
Oh, that was a thing.
That was a thrill.
And riding someone else's bus was weird. Like which old kids should we be weary? Like, who's
all of them?
Who will hit? Who hits?
They all hit. But yeah, and then just like, have hot dogs or something, for supper, and cake, and open a couple presents and watch a movie and play video games too late.
I don't know if I ever had an overnight birthday party.
Really?
Yep. Ours just either after school, or if it was on a Saturday thing. I have a lot of cousins, so it'll be a lot of cousins my age.
Okay.
And then probably like 60-40 family and friends, and then probably have 3 or 4 friends over, eat some cake, eat some ice cream, open some presents, just running around the yard, fall down a bunch.
A lot of running around in the yard.
Yeah, and then bring everyone home by 6-7 o'clock. Really? But you mentioned having sleepovers was the only time of the year. Like, I was staying at someone else's house 2-3 times a month.
Oh, no.
That was a shout out to my buddy Damien, who's listening. That was a big part of, hey, I'm gonna hang. Can I sleep at your house this week? And you can sleep, or usually just one night. You didn't burden the parents 2 nights, but or I'd stay over at my cousin Ryan. So that was a. But I have talked to other friends in other towns. That wasn't a part of their growing up at all.
Yeah, no, there was none of that. It was only birthday parties. That's the only sleepovers there ever were. And like I said, you just ate too much sugar and played Nintendo too late. Mm-hmm. It's not like you were partying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I do remember, now that I think of, I went to other kids where their birthday were always on a weekend, and they would have a few friends stay over, not just one, but have 3 of us come over. Like, I didn't take part in many of those. I do remember getting invited to, I believe, Kelsey's birthday party, and there was talk that there was maybe like his older cousin or older sister was going to rent us a Friday the 13th movie, and I remember just praying that it didn't happen because I was so terrified. I was like, 8.
You were a fearful boy.
A fearful boy. Like, the idea of Freddy Krueger was so fucking terrifying, but I couldn't say it because even at 8, toxic masculinity is very real. Just like, please,
especially at 8.
Yeah, please don't let Freddy. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you have no will of your own at that age.
Yeah.
And when I found out we couldn't get it, I was like, yes.
Oh, thank God. But on the outside, you're like, that's okay. That's a bummer. That's okay.
Oh, I guess next year, maybe. He's just dumb anyhow.
With his dumb glove.
Yeah, made of knives.
I was way more scared of any kid in the grade above me than Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger that shook me. I don't know what it was, but
It's a terrifying concept.
It is. Something that attacks you in your dreams is a terrifying idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but then, you grew up on the moon, so it's not like you could. It's not like there was a Dave and Buster's that you just weren't going to. But we had a resort in quotations that had an indoor pool. So every once in a while, I'd get invited to a birthday party at a goddamn indoor. It's like, what the fuck is this, Mom? This is 11 miles away.
The Jacobsons can go to the fucking pool.
Yeah, we'll go to pool. Eat a cheeseburger cooked by someone other than you. I can't remember being like, this is ridiculous. And looking back at what that kid's parents did for a living, it's not like this. They weren't people of means. They just made a decision to make their boy happy.
Right. They weren't millionaires.
And then, that wasn't about the only Gucci thing you could do in my hometown was go to the indoor pool resort and splash around for an afternoon.
I'd had to driven an hour and a half to find an indoor pool.
to watch a slideshow at a public school that involves an indoor pool. In the world of tomorrow, swimming will be done indoors.
Not just in the river. Yeah.
Just not in swimming, not just for sinkholes anymore.
Swim without the leeches. Yeah. That would have been hot shit.
Science fiction becomes science fact.
But I wouldn't want that anyway. I couldn't swim.
Oh, God, yeah.
I had no business, no interest in the water.
There's just 8 terrified boys with farmer's dads standing in 1.5 feet of water. The town kids are doing backstrokes.
Oh, God. We're just standing in the 3 foot, just like...
Terrified at the slightest ripple in the water.
Whoa.
Gripping the edge.
Grabbing onto each other, hold onto each other's shoulders. Hold on, boys. This is the big one. No, we just had a sleepover. Like at our house, if we were in 4th grade and you came to my birthday party, you're probably gonna have some grilled food and some cake and ice cream. You're gonna run around. You're gonna play soccer against the dog because the 3 kids can't beat this dog at soccer. Yeah, just fun around and then play Super Mario Brothers all night.
I do remember going to one of the first birthday parties from a kid I wasn't related to. Was in the 1st grade, and I don't know if they were hippies or like doomsday preppers. They were one of the two. They're just parents that were slightly different. I just remember getting fed. All of us got a big glass of what we weren't told until we drank it was goat milk, and a bunch of the kids started crying. And watching that poor kid's face, like, oh, why am I raised by these people?
Oh, no.
And I remember driving into town and going to the local grocery store. We all went in the entryway and we all got $1 to put in a quarter machine. What a weird thought. What did you even think of that? It's like, I mean, fuck, I guess I kind of enjoyed it. I like little trinkets, but just a bunch of dopey kids clogging up, bottleneck in the grocery store. Which one will I? Do I want gum? Do I want a wacky wall walker?
Do I want a sticky hand?
Do I want a coffee mug with the St. Louis Cardinals logo on it?
Do I want one homie? Just one?
Homies.
Am I going to be bitten by the bug and need to collect them all?
So remember, you're from a small town in the grocery store entryway, there's novelty machines and salt licks. So that's where the farmers could grab a salt lick if they were on the
block.
North edge of town. They don't want to drive to the implement store.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to turn this into another goddamn animal husbandry episode, but...
Oh, boy.
This
is a good start.
The idea behind a salt lick. Cows just like salt, like we do?
It's a combination of they like it and needing it, but they don't get enough of it in their diet somehow.
Kidding.
Yeah, salt and mineral, because you also buy like multi-purpose mineral bags and mix it up with the salt. It's a minerals and vitamins thing. It's a supplement that they're not getting.
Like it's like almost
they need.
It's like maybe the salts fortify with some other vitamins or something like.
No, salt, like the salt block is usually just salt, but you see the block that's red, like a maroon one, that'll be a different blend, I guess, if you want to call it that.
So I was around cattle, but not a whole bunch. Like, when are they licking that thing?
When?
Yeah,
whenever. You've never seen one get used, is what you're saying.
But I've been around and I've seen a half-licked salt block, where it's dissolved down.
Yeah,
so
it's got the divots in it.
Yeah, so they're just chomping or drinking water, give a lick, drink some water, get a lick.
You kind of put it around with the oil sock and near the water tank where they'll be. You just can't say
oil sock and not describe that. Do you think our friends in Ireland know what an oil sock? I don't know what an oil sock is. Do tell.
So think of a sock that is tied at both ends and filled full of, pick your favorite stuffing, straw or fucking cotton balls or whatever, and it's 12 feet long.
Oh, really?
And it hangs from it hangs diagonally from some manner of metal frame, and then you drench it in fucking oil. And so the cows can walk under it so it rubs on their back to deposit the oil to keep the flies off of it.
I've seen that then. Yeah. There we go. But
Oilers.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen them hanging before, so okay. Yeah. Or also you'll see in the summertime they'll often be face to ass because their tails kind of keep the flies
off each
so
other.
You and your homies just, muzzle the butt.
Same way we keep flies off each other. Yeah. That's often the case when you see them really tightly all bunched up in the summer too. It's they're sharing tails to keep flies off.
Which just seems counterproductive in the summer. You wouldn't want a bunch of 2,500-pound beasts side by side. I think that'd just be generating more heat. But
you and I and 40 other guys our size are gonna pack into the corner.
Up. This is refreshing. I like this.
Yeah. Oh, this is good. Flies aren't nearly so bad.
It's funny that they would need those minerals because, what would they eat if they weren't domesticated? You know what I mean?
A cow will sit and lick the dirt to get the salt
out
of it. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Look at us learning.
Yeah, look at
Never stop learning.
The frequency with which this turns into an agricultural podcast.
We should see
is alarming to
if
me.
we can get a grant from the North Dakota State Agricultural Association.
see if NDSU will give us a grant to talk about cattle.
Like a 2-minute interstitial on AM radio once a week.
Also, there are experts that you can turn. You have me, who's been out of the game for 20 years, half remembering how to raise cattle.
Yeah. Meanwhile, just the whole time you're there, you're fantasizing about a Game Boy.
Oh, just the whole time.
Kirby. Kirby. What was that? Nothing.
Don't worry.
Shaped like Kirby.
He's a soft boy. He's a soft pig boy.
These cows be cool if they could turn into a brick and just crunch stuff.
Oh, God. You don't know how close to home that is.
If they swallowed that four-wheeler, it could have wheels. What are you going on about? Nothing.
Never mind. I'm just daydreaming again. Oh boy, you want a real nightmare? Be a boy with an active imagination out on the moon where he doesn't want to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whew. Not too far from the truth here.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people say they're bored at work, I can just daydream for 10 hours a day.
Haven't you ever pretended you're a tiger in your mind?
Yeah.
Come on.
Man, I've never once, I'm so bored. Fucking look at the wall, man. It's pretty sweet. Get into it.
Haven't you ever sat around and daydreamed about what a penguin might taste like? Come on. Jesus, you got to keep yourself occupied. I think part of that is being an only child. My imagination is vivid.
I rarely am in a public restroom or if I'm taking a shit where I don't stop and think, what if that door locked and I was trapped in here? How would I make this room the most livable? I think about that a lot. Let's say if this was a prison scenario, some weird space prison, or these tiny cubicles, how would I live in this room? Where would I sleep? What would I go in the back of the toilet tank? That will serve as a table. Perfect. I hope I'm sometimes saying this stuff out loud. Some guy next to me shitting who is this lunatic?
What is going on?
I could put a bunk bed right there. Okay. Yeah.
I am getting out of this marathon station right now. See, I'm the opposite. I'm fucking all engines go. Like my head on a swivel in a public bathroom because I saw Witness when I was too young. So I think that public bathrooms are where people go to get murdered.
Oh.
Because when I was 8, I saw Danny Glover stab somebody on the television in a public bathroom while a little boy was in the stall, and I've carried that with me forever.
Man, one of the few places I feel truly comfortable.
Oh man, 1986's Witness is my Vietnam. Like I will never shake it.
Is it a deaf chick or a blind chick he gets with in that?
Neither, I don't think.
Oh, is she Amish?
Yep, there you go.
There's something where he's with a blind lady. There's a weird, I don't know if there's a will they or won't they going on. Did I daydream that movie? This could all be. Is this podcast
I don't
real?
know that that's a movie.
I need to see, please. I need a social security number from you just to prove you're real or something. Now I'm really doubting everything. But you know what I don't doubt, Marlon?
What's that?
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
So reliable.
Yeah, they're always here for us. I think we are right on the edge of season 3 premiering. I think that when this comes out is either coming up this week or just happened this past
33
week.
You mean?
Yeah.
Think of that.
I've been seeing promos for it during the foosball games.
A third of a century.
Yeah. Almost as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, wild, huh? Yeah, you couldn't read when this show debuted.
Still can't.
Yeah. We're getting there, though. Piecemealing it together.
We are in season 16, kicking off with episode 2, All's Fair in Oven War.
Oh, so
I liked
clever.
that one. I liked that one a lot. When I wrote that down, I was like, good on you, Simpsons.
You did it.
We're at the house. There's an open house next door. Homer is an idiot and doesn't want to buy the house next door because he doesn't want to live next to himself because he's a moron. He
knocks himself over the head.
Yeah, he daydreams about having to put up with himself.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking idiot. Marge refers to them as we're just being looky-loos. I like looky-loos quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's a fun mom word. Marge goes in, loves the kitchen, the super ultra modern kitchen, and then goes home and starts looking down on her own kitchen.
Yep. 2 things in the modern kitchen. I liked the bread maker.
Yeah, it's a bread maker that makes bread makers.
Little bread makers.
Yeah.
And I like the walk-in microwave.
Yep, that was nice
Homer
too.
walked in with microwave popcorn. It got me thinking, I really enjoy microwave popcorn.
I love microwave popcorn.
I think one of the reasons to be in a relationship is women are real on point with microwave popcorn. It's a big staple of their diet.
Yeah, that is true.
Yep.
In my experience,
what
too,
percentage of purchased microwave popcorn is made by a woman? 85?
I was going to say 80,
Yep.
so yeah, we're pretty close.
Yep.
I don't have, my kitchen's right there. I don't have microwave popcorn in it.
If someone makes, you want some? Fuck yeah, I do. Give me some microwave popcorn. Yeah.
I always want my, I think I'm never in that aisle at the grocery store.
There are those aisles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's aisles of the grocery store that could just be full of knives, and I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm very task orientated in the grocery store. Get in, get
same
out.
Here. Tunnel vision.
SEAL Team 6 in it.
I got the fucking blinders on. We're going to zero dark 30 these Nabisco products and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, then all of a sudden the siren song or the chip aisle calls.
Oh, man. You got to ignore it. You got to try, buddy.
Oh, man. Some novelty pretzels, I guess.
Like, you could put yellow cake uranium and cocaine in the baby aisle, and I would have no idea.
Yeah, who knows what's going on? Yeah,
if I'm not hungover, really needing a Pedialyte, I'm not going into that aisle.
Yeah, there's like one of Moses' toes in a jar for sale.
Yeah, exactly. Some holy relics.
Some Indiana Jones shit.
Come on down here. We got all these saints' bones. I'm just like, no, whatever.
Yeah, I gotta get English muffins.
Too many diapers down that aisle. So she's super into that kitchen and looking down on her own. Homer decides not going to hire a contractor, very dad thing. We're going to do it ourselves. And Homer starts demolishing the kitchen. Of course, that goes as well as you think it would. Find some old nudie magazines in the ceiling. Yeah, Play Dude.
Which Marge refers to as bosom rags, which is great.
Which is great. wouldn't know that a grown-ass man would have to hide his Playboys in his own house, but I guess whatever.
That's a thing. Oh, I think that is definitely a thing.
Okay.
Well, that's how kids find pornography.
Yeah.
It's because a scared middle-aged man has to dump it in a creek for some reason because he's so paranoid of his wife he can't put it in the garbage.
I feel like American marriages are pretty healthy and pretty, you know, good communication.
Yeah, that might have been more of a 80s,
maybe that's outdated
80s, 90s.
now.
Now everyone's just on fetish sites and like
right. Like you think I'm looking at notes on my phone?
Yeah, exactly. like watching a YouTube tutorial to put your own head up your ass. Visualize what you want in life.
I just don't have the hamstrings for it. My hammies are too tight for that.
It just as it goes on, you just get more and more crestfallen. Oh, I guess whatever.
That's the thing preventing me from putting my own head up my ass. Is my hammies.
Yeah, well, maybe I could flip backwards. No.
Oh, who am I kidding? Never minding the fact that at the end of this all, you're going to need to put your own head up your ass. Oh, God.
8 easy steps. I think it's going to take more than that.
Take more than that. Yeah. Go to a chiropractor first. Finds all the bosom rags, which is so good. And then she cuts all of the ladies out because Homer convinces her, no, I just need it for the articles. Yeah. So she has these magazines full of perfectly cut out woman silhouettes, which is funny in its own right, but then they throw them all away, and Milhouse and Bart find out.
Of course they do.
So they have nudie mags of just the articles, which is fantastic. Milhouse proclaims, let the blossoming of Milhouse begin.
That's so good. I'm sure the answer is no. But did you and your pals? You don't live in a town where there's other people. Of course you didn't. I was like, my notes like, hey Marlon, you and your pals ever stumble upon a pile of stroke mags? Of course you didn't. No. Yeah, we did. It was pretty rad.
Out in the woods where people dump porn, I guess?
In a creek, by the bike trails. Yeah, I wasn't there for when they found the Motherlode. I was there for a smaller tertiary.
Was Motherlode the name of the magazine?
Good catch. There was some more, rough trade, but most of it was Playboy and Penthouse. I think there were some issues. Was it called Oui? I think it's just like whatever French for yes is. I think that was one of them.
Okay. In my head, that was spelled W-E-E, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's a lot of like naked ladies on like playground equipment. Want to do that photo shoot on an overcast day?
Yeah,
those slides retain
in a different town. Yeah, because you will not be looked upon favorably in that town. Eventually, Homer has to break down and hire a contractor. Marge gets her wonderful modern kitchen, which looks awesome and looks extremely strange being in the Simpson house. You're like, this isn't the Simpson kitchen.
Yeah, I don't like updates in that house.
No, we've seen it for 15 fucking years now. You can't go changing it. Marge decides to cook some food for people. Everyone likes it. She made, honestly, what I think would probably be pretty good, fucking wasabi chicken wings. That sounds great. I like those two things. Yep.
Yum, yum, give me some.
It's a little off-putting that they're super green, but I get it.
Very good point.
Green. Ends up entering a cooking contest. The grand prize being that you get to be like the mascot on the cookbook or
like
on
a Betty
the products.
Crocker
Yeah. In the meantime, the boys, since they have these porno mags with nothing but the articles and none of the women, are just like reading lifestyle shit from the 60s.
This is such a good concept for a story to build around. Like
very high
them
concept.
Becoming like 60s, 70s swinging bachelors.
Yeah, like Hefner types.
Yeah, when Bart shows up on the playground and Nelson makes a comment, he's like, Nelson, your wit reminds me of a young Mort Saul. Which is such a great reference for a child to make.
They're just making these super outdated 60s references. They show even in one of the magazines is like a shot of like a swinging cool living room, and it just looks like a Bond villain's lair.
Weird we missed out on that. There was a time when bachelor culture was a thing. Well, it's Playboy. Well, I think we discussed this on here. There's a time where 1 out of 4 college-age males in America subscribed to Playboy.
That's crazy.
The Playboy lifestyle was like a thing. Like that was your personality, was being a swinging bachelor. Hey, it's come back to my place. I got the hi-fi, you know, like we can come back, we can talk literature, you know.
And
have
now
some
it's just
jazz
like, all right,
playing.
dirtbag.
Yeah,
like,
now it's you just go to a sports bar and fucking dry hump in a bathroom, you know. Like, it's part of the dance is gone. The dance is not as ornate as it used to be.
Sorry, I can't get it up. I had too many wings.
I had to snort a rail of Losartan to get my heart to quit jibber jabbering. I don't care. Just mush it all up in there.
Yeah, bachelor culture still exists. It's just different
Heartbreaking.
now. Not a lot of smooth jazz and smoking jackets. Oh God, you want to watch a Marvel movie and get some Sbarro? Am I 15?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, no shit. A 45-year-old man, that's their idea of a nice night out.
Oh, fuck, you're not too far off, brother. Marge enters this cooking contest, makes her dessert hot dogs, which is like a hot dog that's made out of sweet things but still looks like a hot dog, which is fun. She gets selected. Ralphie does not. And Ralphie is heartbroken because he had high hopes on his grilled crayon sandwich.
Yeah. Which Chief Wiggum has to eat to be supportive.
Yeah, takes a bite out of it, and Ralphie waits a beat and goes, "Can you taste the thumbtack?"
Yeah.
What do you think Chief Wiggum's life is like?
He still shares a bed with his wife, which is good. We saw that a while back. Yeah. Like, I thought they might have been at separate room stage at this point in the courtship.
Misshapen people can still find love. So Marge, since she's been selected, is in on this this cooking competition. She goes into, it looks like a reality TV show set almost, where everyone has their own kitchen station. The rest of the cooks are all mocking her. We go back to the treehouse where the boys are having like a swinging soiree, fucking Playboy Mansion 60s party, and James Caan
Such the
is
perfect
there.
celebrity to
That's
pick.
the perfect person to cast for this.
And of course, he's going to slam with Mrs. Krabappel because it's a wonderful world we live in. And of course, she's into it because she's single again. Kind of forget that.
Yeah, she threw Skinner out the door a couple weeks ago on this program. Voiced by James Caan. Voiced himself, which is cool. Looks like James Caan. I like a good... I like a good, like, you can look at him and be like, that's James Caan. I like when they get that right.
James Caan's had an interesting career arc because, you know, he kind of came up with, like, Al Pacino, De Niro, Christopher Walken. But he just never quite ascended to the height of, like, Pacino and De Niro. He didn't become a fun caricature like Christopher Walken did, but he just kind of did his own thing, you know?
He never got, like... He never, like, stayed prestige and then fell off in his later work like De Niro and Pacino have, where they're almost caricatures.
He was never big enough where he could just be a cash, go for the money guy like Pacino and De Niro did. Yeah, what an interesting... Because he still pops up and shit. Yeah, and he's fine. He's a good actor. Like,
what do you think of when you think of James Caan? Like, what's his touchstone role for you? Is it Godfather?
It's probably Godfather. You know what also comes to mind is Bottle Rocket, which is a tiny indie movie that Wes Anderson made that got him to the level where he can make shit like the Royal Tenenbaums and Rushmore. He made a little small... That's how Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson became known to the world, because they were all buddies in college. And has a small but very good role in that movie. But he's also in a movie called Thief. It's maybe Michael Mann, who made like Heat. That might have been his first theatrical big movie, was a movie called Thief, and that stars James Caan.
What's the James... Mine is... one where it's like, I don't even think this is a big movie, but we owned it on VHS. So
isn't that funny how that works, though? It sticks in your head forever.
What's the one where he wants to pay Nicolas Cage a bunch of money to have sex with his wife?
You're thinking of Robert Redford.
Okay.
And that's Woody Harrelson in Decent Proposal.
What am I thinking of? The other one I confuse with that, which is Leaving Las Vegas.
No,
Is James Caan in that?
I don't think so. Nick Cage is, but Nick Cage is drinking himself to death, and he's falling in love with a prostitute played by Elizabeth Shue.
No, that ain't it either. Then I don't know where I know James Caan from. Is where we're getting. Because I didn't see Godfather until I was probably in my mid-20s.
Yeah, me too. Yep,
so.
I was, if not even a little older. Yeah, late 20s. Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to look up. What do I know James Caan
That's true.
from?
I feel like
what a sentence to ask yourself in your mid-30s.
Yeah, I feel like there's something very obvious that's right in front of our faces that we're missing. But I don't know what it would be. Yeah, like, is he maybe a football coach in a 90s movie? I mean, nothing that was great, but that sticks out in my head too. Maybe fucking The Program or something like that.
I think you're right. I think he is in The Program.
Mm-hmm.
The Program's a fucking good movie.
Never seen it. I just remember.
Oh, really? I like The Program.
I remember seeing the VHS tape in the Cenex where we rented movies.
And you've seen like 800 used copies in every used DVD store you've ever been to in your life.
Isn't there a scene where the kids like kind of like talk each other into just laying on the dotted line on the highway? As the cars fly by, as kind of like a rite of passage. Like,
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
It's been a long fucking time.
Yeah.
James Caan, who has Edna Krabappel hanging all over him, says, "Some guys like the challenge, not me."
Yeah, so
that's such
great.
a perfect line from James Caan.
I think James Caan, if you look it up, around this time, maybe. This is why he's in here, was in a what became known for like a really awkward, prickly Playboy interview where he was really like not pulling any punches, and kind of like being a jerk, just kind of like upset because he was a movie star and he was just sick of people digging into his personal life. And I don't know if you ever were a Playboy subscriber, the interviews were top notch because they would give as many pages. You get a humongous interview. It would go on and on. So it seems silly, but if you were to put a gun to my head, list of magazines I'd subscribe to, Playboy, even without the titties, would be pretty high on the list.
Yeah, like even just for the interviews, that's because I think celebrities also feel like they can let their guard down, let their hair down a little bit,
and it's not just always celebrities; it's politicians, and so they get a real good mix. Doesn't exist anymore though because now we just have to fucking look at what our dipshit friends are doing all day on our phones, and we can't read things.
Yeah.
Rubble,
old man.
Arms crossed. frowning.
Damn kids. We're back at the kitchen where Marge is working on her dessert hot dogs. Luigi, we get a lot of Luigi here.
Yeah, we do.
Who's an asshole. Yep. Luigi's a prick. Everybody's a prick, though, to be fair. Like, Agnes is a prick. That fucking other guy who's I don't even think has
Chef
a character name, but comes along and ruins her food that she's cooking. She barely gets it submitted in time with some encouragement from Lisa, and then she's left alone in the room for a moment with everyone else's food that they've submitted, and she can't help herself, and I kind of don't even blame her.
Yeah, fuck them.
She
at this point
sabotages everyone else's food by putting Maggie's ear medicine in it.
Babies are a mess. Because if you walked around with a thing of ear medicine, Marlon's not long for this world. But just babies are just diseased. They're putting everything in their goddamn mouths.
Yep. Every baby hole needs a medicine.
Hey, sweet flip-flop, I think I'll eat it. No. If you just casually picked up a stranger's flip-flop, just kind of sucking on it, just like it's like a lolly, hey man, you talk to somebody? What's going on?
Oh god, yeah, babies are a nightmare. I can't imagine. Homer daydreams about meeting all the other food mascots was fun, and he accidentally kills Twinkie the kid, and the Pringles guy is there. That was a fun Homer daydream. All the rest of the parents in the neighborhood come over pissed at Homer because they're mad at Bart because he's been spreading adult themes to their children. But it's not even he's not even spreading anything explicit. It's just adult. You know what I mean?
Kids talking about Coltrane.
That's one of my favorite parts is that they're listening to some jazz and Milhouse is like, when do you think the singing starts? Oh, God.
Speaking of Milhouse, there's a great line when Homer climbs up into the treehouse. That's can you give us a minute, Milton? It's Milhouse. Yeah, and your father's no house. No scram. Mocking a child for having a dad that's down on his luck.
Such a good dunk on poor Milhouse.
It's Milhouse. Yeah, and your father is no house. Jesus. It's your son's friend. Can you give us a minute, Milton?
Just the idea of, if you think about your own dad, the idea of your dad being mean to one of your friends. Yeah. Like, that's funny to me. Homer has the sex talk with Bart at that point, and then Bart runs and spreads it to all the other kids. Yeah. So the thing the parents were pissed about that wasn't happening has now occurred.
I think I kind of got the sex talk, but I was so young, and none of it made sense. It was like late at night. My dad may have been drunk. Like I don't even know what spurred it on, even. But I don't think I would imagine this. I just remember like thinking what is going? Why is that? What are you? My brother was there. He's like 4. So none of it stuck.
Boy, that is early.
Yeah. I think it was one of those. Hey, they're both here. I'm drunk enough. We can knock this out.
So 2 birds, 1 stone. One of them can't even identify colors yet, but he may as well know this.
The back of his skull is still mush,
and the other one's his younger brother.
Yeah. I don't ever remember.
Boy, unless I've just full-on repressed it, I don't ever think I got the talk. You just grow up with animals, and you're like,
yeah,
yep,
that literally kind of does help a little bit. You understand
I have no idea.
The mechanics. I do remember wondering the mechanics of people, and before the internet, that was hard to find. It's like, how does it?
You're just logistically, structure-wise. How do you bend?
Yeah, how does it? Mine's right in the front. They're just kind of under. It's like thinking of how plugins work. It's like, well, that plugin's at an angle.
Oh, shit. Lisa's pissed at Marge for cheating, and Marge is defending herself like, I needed something. And she says, and I have the quote here, because as of now, I'm just the wife of a guy who doesn't go to work.
So great.
Woof. God, that's so good.
Yeah. Real talk.
Marge is facing off against Brandine of Cletus's clan, who's
his sister wife.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call her. But just like her recipe, I guess you call it, just involves filling a pig full of booze, I guess. Like she's trying to make foie gras with a pig.
Yeah, vodka. When that pig wakes up.
Yeah, I saw that joke coming. Yeah. I was like, the pig's got to be alive, right? Yeah. So Marge, rather than take down Brandine, comes clean, tells the family, tells everyone that she cheated. Brandine wins and then runs off with James Caan.
Yeah, so great.
Who then gets godfathered.
Yeah, by the Cletus clan.
Yeah, by the Cletus clan. Yeah. They do the Godfather thing where he gets shot surrounded by gunmen.
Yeah.
Good episode, I thought.
Yeah,
I liked this one quite a bit.
Yep.
One thing that I noted, we didn't reset the kitchen. We didn't have the kitchen blow up or something that.
Good point.
To get back to our everything will be normal next week that we always do.
I think maybe there's been a few of those
that are just left unfinished.
I think that's something we get more of now.
I mean, I noticed it, but I wasn't like, hey, they didn't. Yeah. We don't need it.
Yeah. But I'm with you. Good episode.
Yep, solid.
We're up to episode 3, Sleeping with the Enemy.
Not even a fun pun title or anything.
Yeah.
That's just a Julia Roberts movie.
Exactly. Something I only say about once every 3 or 4 seasons now. I believe I may have seen at least parts of this episode before. Which is
just
being in a hotel.
Had it on,
by this point,
or a hotel, yeah.
At this point, I was living in Fargo, so I had access to Fox and just didn't think of watching The Simpsons because no one was talking about it.
Caught it after a football game.
Yep. That is probably what it was.
Yeah.
just because there's a scene coming up where Homer talks about his large posterior. I remember seeing that, like him turning around with that. It's like to hide it, I like to wear a sweatshirt around my waist
with them cakes.
Yeah. Homer is a thickie. So Lisa is in the episode starts with Lisa in the process of building an epic hopscotch game, which other sources have told us is not just something invented for television, but I'm still skeptical.
Yeah, I've been told that hopscotch is real, but my very first note says hopscotch ain't real. Yeah. So I don't know. I would have trouble believing that. So
those asshole twin girls, they start teasing Lisa for having a big butt. She's very sad about it, and Homer tries to have a talk with her, informs her she has what is known as the Simpson butt.
The Simpson butt.
As again, as mentioned before, Homer is a big old thick boy, and again, it's a good visual gag. Like I sometimes try to hide it by wearing a sweatshirt around my waist, and his ass is like 3 sweatshirts wide, which is so great.
And I love the animation on him. Like they really give him a fucking donk in that scene.
And during this, Bart just bursts in, waving a test in the air. He got 100 on a test. So per some long past agreement with Homer, he gets to have a party.
Yeah.
It's real vague. Not what kind of party.
You said if I got 100%, you'd throw me a party. Yeah.
And Homer is just determined to find some kind of loophole to get out of it.
Yeah.
He's like looking for cheating. He's looking for this. He goes that watermark that's got a Principal Skinner's face on
only
it.
You can prevent test fraud or something like that. Yeah.
To even go to the school. I like this. It's like, go to Dr. Kerbal. It's a great plot point. Like, we did a state capitals test. I forgot to take the map down.
Which is so good.
But to Bart's defense, he still got the 100.
I like that in that scene, she's standing there because it's at her apartment, at Edna's apartment, and Skinner comes out, and they're both in their jammies, and I forget which Simpson it is, goes like, you're here? I thought you two broke up. And Edna just goes, this doesn't mean anything, which is so good. Good for her.
And Skinner's like, you've made it perfectly clear.
Which, honestly, I bet she did.
Good for you, you spineless cuck.
Like, listen here, we are just slamming. This ain't nothing if you so much as wink at me.
Then you fill my void to fill this existential void.
We're just getting nut. Don't think nothing of this.
I just love Homer gives...
Good for her.
Yep. God, more Krabappel, please. I know.
Dish it up.
I've never once been like, oh, this is too much Krabappel. Nope.
No. I would watch a spinoff that's just Edna.
I think I might too. Yeah. I just love that Homer is spending far more time trying to refute a test score than he ever did encouraging or helping his kids in school.
Oh, absolutely. Like, definitely spend all this energy trying to find out, but definitely don't tell your son you're proud of him or anything.
Yeah, no shit, yeah. So, the Simpsons, and Marge, because she's a good mom, she kind of takes the reins of the party idea, but it's kind of short notice, which it'd be hard to throw a party short. So it's a real dud.
Yeah,
we get Patty and Selma. We get Grandma
Bouvier.
Been a minute.
Haven't seen her in a while.
And Grandpa. He's holding that. He's asleep holding a cake with the word number 100 on it. And then is it Ralphie and Martin?
Yeah, Ralphie and Martin are the only 2 kids that would come. And then Milhouse via speakerphone.
Yeah, because he has measles.
He has the measles. Which, shouldn't that kid been vaxxed? This is 2004.
Exactly. Yep.
Didn't that kid get the MMR?
Yeah, no, just gonna. They don't seem like they'd be anti-vax people, but
you wouldn't. But Lisa got the mumps a few seasons ago.
You're right.
So,
yeah.
Who fucking knows?
Maybe Gunter came through and they hadn't got the right shots to the exchange kids yet.
Yeah, that didn't get them inoculated
some
properly.
Weird strain.
Yeah, some weird German measles.
Yeah. And I felt for Bart. Like, there's something about when you're a little kid and something is for you and it's not good.
Yeah.
Because you've had so few things that are for you that it's like, it just breaks your little heart. Like, this was supposed to be my thing and this sucks.
I kind of fell on the line of like like, yeah, I feel for you, Bart. This sucks, but also your mom did the best she could, you little shit.
Yep.
Like, I fell right down the center of it.
Marge is also, she tried her best. Moms, they're moms. They don't know what a 10-year-old boy enjoys.
Right. Why would she know? Yeah.
I think that's why moms and sons and daughters and dads have a different relationship than sons and dads.
Right.
Because, like, they're different than you. So you like when you knock it out of the park with them, it's double good because you're flying blind.
Yeah.
Like
it's doubly impressive.
Like think of like the men you grew up with. They know what goes through the mind of an 8-year-old girl.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, but they love them, so they're gonna try. So when it works, they're over the moon. Like it'd be like being a scientist. It's like, holy shit, this is working.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe Wilbur got that plane in the air. We're doing it. The party's that book she dusts off like rainy day games. For our first game, everyone draw a picture of President Eisenhower, and Bart's got that crown. He doesn't wear a crown.
And also Martin draws a great picture of Eisenhower,
the Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah, their relationship was frosty at best.
God, that fucking kid.
God damn it, Martin.
And there's a great one of those pause it and get a good laugh. Like if you pause at the coffee table when they're looking at all the gifts that Bart got, there's a birdhouse, a bow tie, a funnel, just a funnel, and then what appeared to be a $5 savings bond. Just so good. Oh man, yeah. Like so, I feel bad for kind of both of them. And Marge is now bummed. And now Lisa is super weight conscious. So she doesn't want to do anything with Marge that involves food. She just wants to read about getting skinny. And Bart's like, nope, I don't want anything to do with you. So got a Marge in a bad spot, which I bet that happens to every parent.
I bet there's a moment where like your kid freezes you out a little bit. Yeah.
And think of what it's like, because at one point for literally years, they're reliant on you for everything. Get you out of bed. Being so little that flipping out of bed could be hazardous.
Right.
Imagine if your bed was 7 feet tall.
Oh, God.
That's what it's like for
I'm terrified of heights.
Yeah, for a 2-year-old.
Lay there and have panic attacks the whole time.
Well, I remember with my brother too, just thinking that my mom was taking far too many unnecessary safety measures. It's like, he doesn't need to be strapped into a baby seat. You've never got it. Just go. He's fine. Everyone's fine.
I wonder if I ever sat in a baby seat a day in my life. I had to have, right?
Yeah. You're old. You're young enough that.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Even in.
That's good.
Yeah. And I don't even know what you would consider that part of the world. Like you would have been looked at side-eyed, I think. Like yeah. Especially when you're like a infant, But now, like my nephews are 5'8" and are in baby seats because there's the law, Like what I do remember a lot of. Just, baby seats is what you're supposed to have, but if there's too many kids, you got to get to church, 3 in the front and you're holding a toddler on your lap, Like there's a lot of that growing up, especially back in the days when pickups were all regular cab, 4 abreast or holding a child on your lap. What happens to that kid? That kid, literally, they struggle to find enough left over to bury. Jeez, we fit this kid in a bread bag. The big Haas uncle of his just mushed him.
We'll just bury the dirt that he stained when he
imagine
landed.
If a large man held that ham and ran into a brick wall as fast as he could. Like that's what would happen to a toddler in those accidents.
I'm glad that you think, hopefully, that I was put in a car seat at some point.
I just feel...
Because in my head, my dad was hucking me off a 3-wheeler to distract a cow so he could tag the calf.
But I'm also picturing baby Marlon had the torso and head of like a 25-year-old. It's just tiny little limbs,
Baby Marlon is 60 pounds.
Yeah, he's just like a little critter. He's just all head and torso.
He's like a dog food bag with Marlon's face.
He went through like a weird tadpole phase. Just all head and the rest of you grew in afterwards.
Boy, I hope he grows into them legs. He's going to have to catch up with that fucking 40-year-old man body of his. His hairline's already going.
So Marge is just like, I think she's at the park maybe, and she sees kind of like a fountain of some kind, and fucking Nelson is trying to catch tadpoles to eat. This is, I'm going to go right on. I love this episode too.
I love it. I think this is a great episode.
She talks to him about it. And he's like, well, my daughter doesn't want to eat her lunch. And he is like, I like how they portray him as being like nearly feral.
Yeah, he's like a wild
real
animal.
Scared, and he darts for it, and then just runs off and eats it in the shadows.
Looking around, snatches the sandwich, runs away and eats it. Yeah. He's eating fucking tadpoles out of that fountain.
Oh, and so good.
Marge goes, is that your lunch? He goes, well, technically brunch, which I got a good laugh
at. There were so many good Nelson lines. So like Marge, now her mothering's kicking in, and Nelson actually appreciates this because he has trash parents.
She's like de facto adopted. Nelson.
Like talking about like that her kids are kind of not wanting to spend time with her. And Nelson, I'm sure it's just a phase. Like when I used to go over to the overpass and huck computers at cars. Such a great phase to go through.
What a visual too. Holy shit.
So like Marge is like, Nelson is Marge's surrogate child at this point. Like, and we get a glimpse at Nelson's mom. What you'd expect.
Yeah. Dirtbag.
Dropping him off at this really shady looking house. And that's actually the nicer of the two houses. He climbs the fence to the abandoned flop house that they live in.
He was embarrassed to be dropped off at his actual house. And he rushes in, and his mom is sitting there with Mo on a date.
So great.
Fucking dating Mo Sislak. Yeah. What are you doing, lady?
Date in air quotes. Right. I'm sure this was more of a cash transaction.
That's how pure I am. I'm like, they're probably going to go to a movie.
Well, he wasn't a tux. Why would you just dress up for a prostitute? He was in a suit
you
or
think
something.
A prostitute can't appreciate the fancier things?
I don't think they really care.
What do you have against sex workers?
I think that they, you know what I think they want? They want you in a tank top and basketball shorts because they want you to dress and undress quicker than hell.
We're moving them in and out.
It'd be like going to get a blood draw in a tuxedo. It's too many layers. Just come in easy. No sleeves.
You gotta get to your vein. Get out of here.
Yeah. They're getting to the main vein. That's what they're doing. Hey, we're here all night.
We got there. So, there's a moment here. I don't remember exactly where it is, but Nelson points and laughs at something while he and Marge are having kind of a sweet moment, and he goes, "Ha ha! Starting to let down my guard."
Yeah. Oh,
so fucking. It's so pure.
And he's now part of their household.
Yeah.
There's a great,
lives at the Simpsons.
He just opens his mouth and Homer uses him as a bottle opener with his teeth. And it's Marge or Lee? I think it's Marge. Like, doesn't that hurt? And he's like, yeah, my teeth hurt all the time. I just think about motorcycles.
Yep.
Such a great way to deal with tooth decay.
And she's like, we're going to take you to Dr. So-and-so. And he's like, a doctor just for your teeth? What a time to be alive. Yeah. This is a fucking good episode.
Yeah. And kind of the storyline of the B stories, Lisa is just the body image issues, and like she goes like to the mall and everything's super skinny.
Everything's for all the skinny girls.
Planing down the thighs. Down the thighs.
That guy.
I make $4 an hour planing down the thighs.
He's got a fucking hand planer planing down the thighs
like
on this
craftsman.
Holy shit.
And
you ever used a wood planer? Mm-hmm. Fuck, those things are. There's more to it than it looks.
There's our shop class had a hand planer, but it also had like a actual like machine, one that you'd run a board through and it planed it for you. Pretty fancy, which also looked like, I cannot believe it. One or two kids a year didn't get an arm ground to mulch in that thing.
I think that's any shop class. How are kids not just constantly injured here?
The bandsaw. That's just, why don't we just, there should be hands laying everywhere. Think some of that shit was the table saw. I mean, table saws are dangerous with an adult alone, let alone 30 horned up 14-year-olds. You know, like
I like that you had a power planer though, because like, oh, look at my school with its budget.
Yeah. Well, it was a weird mix where there was like one RAM. It was all like this. Oh, this is a deep dive. Like Alien 3. There was equipment, but it was all one wire burning out away from being a paperweight, you know. So there was always the hand shit there for if it was needed,
just
in
case. Like my school, on the other hand, you know, when you're welding, you need the welding grease for dipping because it needs to be lubricated. My school they weren't about to pay for that fancy grease. So what they had was aerosol vegetable oil.
Oh, my God.
Cooking spray.
Terrific.
You know what you don't want in a welding booth? A fucking aerosol can. And one kid my senior year blew himself up.
No shit.
He touched it with the arc of his fucking with the tip of his welder before he could get his mask up, like welded, and then moved his hand over to the right and tapped it, and it fucking flamethrower exploded.
Really?
In his
Did he get hurt?
Face. He got burned up, but not hurt.
Yeah,
you know,
okay,
like
yeah.
no eyebrows, but doesn't need to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
Well, should go to the doctor, but
like isn't getting grafts.
right.
Yeah.
But he was full on fire, clothes and everything,
really?
the whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Yep.
Our rodeo clown shop teacher got him put out in a fucking hurry.
My friend Damien, who's been name dropped now twice.
Should Damien just be on the show?
One time we were all in our little welding booths and someone stood back and watched as he casually welded while on fire. Instead of telling him, a friend elbowed me so I could look. It just had like, you know, because they make you wear an old flannel or something to cover up.
Sure, yeah.
And so, hey, you're on fire. And maybe he just like, look. Oh, look, I'm on fire. Just
pat himself out
like finding a 4-leaf clover. Oh, look.
Oh, look at that. Huh.
Who'd have thunk?
You're right, that is a big spider.
So in your shop class, so you gotta do arc welding.
Yeah, stick welding.
You can do some wire feed.
No, there were no wire feed.
Oh, that was I think kind of set aside for the kids that were more serious about it.
I grew up wire feed welding. My old man had a wire feed welder, so
wire feed welding sure seemed to me a lot easier. That seemed like
yeah. It's not even close.
That's a known. It wasn't just a skill thing. That's just an obvious thing.
And it's like a better product. It's easier. It's a better finished product. Like it's more widely used by fucking everybody at this point in the professional world. Like a stick welder is like, if the wire feed welder caught on fire, we'd have to use the stick welder.
Oh, really?
You know?
Okay. What's the one where you have a stick in one hand and it's like a flame in the other? Is that brazing?
Soldering, maybe? Or soldering's a wire.
Yeah.
Those kind of all fall in the same. Brazing is what you do to short ribs. I think that's something different, probably.
What am I thinking of where you have like a stick that is what you're welding with? That's what melts. And you just slowly feed that into the flame. Isn't that a kind of welding? Maybe that's
how I learned to solder.
Oh, okay.
But there could
Maybe
be a verb that I don't know. They exist.
Yeah.
These unknown verbs.
Well, this has been welding talk.
We could go on a long time.
Following the animal husbandry.
My old man was a really good welder, and I grew up being a really good welder. Like, if I wanted to and wouldn't fucking rather jump in the fucking river, I could go be a welder and make a shit ton of money. But I don't fucking want to.
Never too young.
At all.
Never too old.
It's not about age. It's about desire.
You don't think you're ever hit that welding age?
No, I don't think. I don't think any day now I'm gonna be like, you know what? I sure would like to put this one axle on a tractor over and over again for 40 hours a week.
Hot metal that needs to be melded together. I think I'm the man for it.
Nope, not for me. It's so, but it is one of those things where it's weird to be like, boy, I'm really good at this, and it pays really well, and I would rather be dead than do it.
If you move to a big city, the fact that you're a welder could get you laid. There's I noticed that in the cities. There's like this thing, like if you do a trade, it's like unique and sexy. Whereas like, what? It's what everyone I know, like, that's like, I mean, it's practical. That's what I think. Oh, it's good on you. You didn't get much student loan debt and you got a skill that can keep you employed. But they don't know anyone that's a plumber.
Plus you stick out from all the rest of the duds who just are working in office.
Yep. Like, it's a unique thing down there. I'm like, what? Like, you should be fucking drive up to the Iron Range and fuck a bunch of hillbillies. You know? Like, if that's your jam, like, they're all over the place up there.
Well, fucking pull them panties to the side, ladies, because I can also butcher pretty well.
There you go.
So.
Hey, that might not fly as well. A lot of them very sweet on animals
is that
in
a
the
little
big
different
city.
Connotation?
Yeah, I find some butcher gals.
I could be up to my knees in pig blood, cutting parts off.
You had them, then you
Does that
lost
do
them.
anything for you? You want to get in my car?
Yeah, you had everything you needed, and then you bring up the butcher ring. It's like, what did you think you're going to gain?
I make homemade head cheese. You want to come home with me? I got some.
There's
cookies.
a noise they make.
I left some in the slow cooker at home. Sure hope the cat hadn't gotten into it yet.
They ran to you, then they ran away.
You like oxtail?
No woman has ever. Oh, oxtail.
Oxtail is delicious.
No one's ever. It's not arousing. No one has
right.
oxtail on Valentine's Day.
You're 100%
chocolate covered strawberries and the oxtail.
Ooh, it's not an aphrodisiac. It's not like oysters and champagne. Yeah, come back to my room. I get a little oxtail. I've just got Ziploc bags full of it in my pockets.
Speaking of connective tissue. Oh, good times.
Gelatinous.
So Lisa is feeling bad about herself, and she just doesn't know what to do. And finally, she has a breakdown, and she opens the fridge. There's a giant cake that says "Happy Labor Day, Lenny."
So good that they bought a cake
Like
for
a very
Lenny for
nice
Labor
cake.
Day.
Yeah. And Lisa's like, I'll just have a little bite of frosting to show myself that I can. And then fast forward, literally, not even 5 seconds later, she is gorging herself on cake and doing like snow angels.
Yeah.
And very good animation of her rolling in it. And Nelson just casually walking up, still having the body image issues. Yeah, those girls being mean, they are.
I love this little conversation between these two.
Because that is his stock of trade is emotional abuse. So he's like, okay, I see this.
Yep, I know exactly
these
what's
are peers
here.
of mine and hurting kids. So, and so he shows up to school. The twins are sitting on like a bench and just gives them a gift. I can't remember what he gives some spiel about how wonderful they are.
Yeah.
And they open it. It's a skunk.
Yeah.
The skunk sprays them. And everyone appears. They're starting to chant like whatever the twins are, some kind of rhyme.
Yeah.
The kind of cruelty only children can quickly think of.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of this, as they're chanting, the skunk starts dancing along with the chant.
So good.
So now the twins, they're the stinky girls now, so they got their own fish to fry, so they can't bully Lisa.
Yeah, Nelson bullied the twins on Lisa's behalf, which is very sweet.
And they return, they come home from school, and only to find Mr. Muntz.
Yeah.
And turns out he wasn't that far out. He told him he went to get cigarettes, never came back. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
He accidentally ate a candy bar that had peanuts in it. He has a peanut allergy. A cruel circus master basically human traffics him.
Yeah, while he's all like lumpy and shouting.
He keeps him full of peanuts, and they basically puts him in the geek show.
Yeah, just fucking snatches him.
25 cents to throw nuts at the cave monster. And then I don't even know how he breaks free, but he does.
Bart is in the crowd.
Oh, that is what it is.
Spots him and brings him home.
So Bart sees him, and Bart kind of ends up, despite Nelson being the bane of his existence, it's kind of does a nice thing. Well, he wants him out of his house.
Bart also wants him out of his house. So he has his own agenda here.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not completely altruistic.
So, and also there's the reason he's there is because his mom abandoned him to move to be an actress.
Yeah, went off to Hollywood.
She doesn't have the range.
And then she comes back in this scene too.
And they all hug. It's like, I didn't have to take my shirt off, but I did anyway.
Yeah, I'm in Hamlet.
Yeah.
I don't have to take my top off, but I do. I got a acting gig with the third director I slept with.
Yeah. And then they all hug as one big happy family. And then Mo jumps in and gets in on it.
He's like, all 4 months. Jesus, Mo.
And good episode.
Yeah, I liked this one a lot. That scene at Bart's fucking dud party when they're all sitting in a circle playing Duck, Duck, Goose, and Ralphie is running around the circle just duck, 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 and clearly doesn't understand the game. I was dying. I don't know about you, maybe because that bit went on a long time, but I was dying laughing at how annoyed everyone looks while Ralphie is having the time of his life.
And then Bart finally snaps and just say just say goose.
Say goose, you freak.
Yeah. And he runs off crying, and then there's this big fight. Everyone leaves, and he just runs back in and starts doing it to the empty chairs.
Yep.
You know,
duck, 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 duck.
I'm sure you've heard the debate how in Minnesota they call it duck, duck, gray duck.
Minnesota is fucking backwards.
That's dumb.
That is so wrong. And it's literally the only state that does that.
Yep.
Like,
and
stop being Texas. Join the rest of us.
And
like,
it's not the same amount of syllables. That's
right.
Duck, duck,
it's
duck,
not,
duck, goose.
Like,
Duck,
gray
duck,
duck?
duck, duck, gray duck?
Eat
no.
my whole
no.
ass with your gray duck.
No, that's not how it works. It's goose.
Dumb. Yeah, it's a very dumb thing.
It used to be a time of the game of Duck, Duck, Goose, though, that everyone, if there's too many kids the same age, it would never end because you could never catch the person, if that makes sense. So it would just keep switching.
Brother, I could never catch the
Oh, really?
person. Not ever. I don't think I've ever caught the person.
The game would just end when you'd collapse. Everyone would feel bad.
That's how that game ends, is me just huffing, just sucking air laying on the floor.
I was still a spry boy when my Duck, Duck, Goose days.
Oh, not me. Like, not only do I got to run, but I got to get up off the floor and then run, and you expect me to catch somebody? Hell no. I may as well stay sitting.
But that's the thing, though. Once you're up, though, then you can usually always still beat the kid that had to get up. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Oh, if I'm the kid who's I'm caught immediately.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Were you surrounded by hyper athletes, or like
no,
you just weren't a hyper athlete?
Exactly.
I can just always find the one in the group. Okay, you're the goose.
It's not that I was surrounded by hyper athletes. I was that far below everybody else in terms of athletic ability.
My body is already embracing the potato lifestyle.
The mashed potato lifestyle.
I would have killed for the firmness of a russet.
Episode number 4 of season 16 is She Used to Be My Girl. We always at the front of these new seasons get new couch gags, and I did like the all mows one, where the Simpsons come running in and they sit on the couch, but they're all mows. Oh, not even like something wild or clever. They're just mows.
Is this the one? Oh, and this one also has a chalkboard gag that I had a comment on.
Okay.
Remember, the chalkboard gag was poking a dead raccoon is not research. That made me think of something I hadn't thought of in ages.
Oh, boy.
When I think must have been in the 7th grade, one of the hillbilly 8th grade kids brought in a giant dead roadkill raccoon in a sack, and our teacher, to her credit, she just yeeted her way through it like, fuck it, let's start poking and prodding.
For show and tell?
No, for science, for biology, because we were at that point where we were doing dissections with frogs.
Sure.
And she's like, and she was a country girl herself, I'm sure, like, hey, you know, we'll get a raccoon, we can even get a better look at the guts. And
what the fuck?
And again, just rolling with it. She let me do the play-by-play, and we videotape it. I need to find that tape.
No kidding.
Send that out when anyone asks for videos for anything.
For comedy gigs.
Here's my headlining set. I did 45 minutes in a 7th grade science class in 1992.
Someday when you record your special, you should play that on stage. Like, open with that.
Yeah. I'd love to see what goofs I was cracking for that.
Oh, God, me too.
Yeah. God, yeah, that has to exist out there somewhere.
Man, for as hillbilly as I was raised, I don't think anyone ever brought a dead raccoon to school, much less had a teacher go with it.
It just seems it's so barren out there that there's probably 10 more good uses for a raccoon carcass before science. You know?
To be fair, there was probably 10 raccoons in my county.
Yeah, we were flush with raccoons. we had
knee deep in raccoons.
All we needed from this earth was provided in raccoon. Warm hides, delicious fat.
We are raccoon people.
All of our silverware was made from raccoon bones.
You think you could handle being one of those weird people who has a pet raccoon?
Nope.
Oh man, I would love a pet raccoon.
You want to talk about like when my countryism comes out of me is watching anywhere where there's city people petting a wild animal because it's tame, because it's a national park. That irks me so. Like, nope.
Really?
Deer shouldn't be licking the salt off your hands. They should be scared of you.
What about in a zoo? Is that acceptable?
It's the game is lost at that point, so those animals are fucked anyhow.
Dead inside.
They're pets now.
But in a park, like a national park, I can see that.
We've ruined these animals, you know. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this bear can barely hunt now because you fuckers threw McDonald's at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Throwing McRibs at a bear all day. Like, nom noms. Nom noms.
Throw McRibs at me.
Yeah, exactly. You're in the car over, like, one hand reaching. Oh. I wish I was furrier.
You look real close. Just me in a bear costume catching McRibs.
Nom nom nom.
Roar, yeah. Some Pantera t-shirt under there? I think that's a
Fozzie costume. That bear's got a hat on.
Waka waka as I run off with my McRib bounty. Oh, God. Yeah, this is the first episode in a long time where we get not a full intro, but most of the intro. So, yeah, we haven't seen a chalkboard gag in a long time. The Simpsons are sitting at home when a fucking cavalcade of media vans come rolling by because there is a sex scandal media circus happening. Mayor Quimby is the subject of 27 paternity suits, which, good God, Quimby.
Wrap it up,
fucking
bro.
You pulling out ain't illegal, dog. Like, it's been invented.
He is an old enough man. Get a vasectomy.
Right. What are you doing?
Well, it's the hubris, these guys. They've gotten away with everything for so long.
You can do it at home. Do it yourself. It's fine. It's easy.
YouTube, bro.
Yeah, you got a vegetable peeler? Come on.
My brother just got one. And I heard a little bit of the what goes into it.
Oh, yeah? Or what comes out of it?
Not for the faint of heart. Yeah, not for the faint of heart at all. I mean, I think the healing process was fine, but the actual... They get
in
in there.
Not fun.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's work to be
organs.
done. It's a roll your sleeve up kind of thing.
You're thumbing your nose at God. That takes some work.
Maybe that's why there's so many paternity suits, is because Quimby is Kennedy and Kennedy was Catholic.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Maybe you can pull this thread all the way back. To, like most things, Catholicism's to blame.
What is wrong? Why farting out kids,
brother? Oh my God, there's a handful of real deal hardcore triple distilled Catholic families in my town, and Jesus, just get off of her. Good fuck. Where it's oh, we got 8 kids and 9th on the way. It's
that big, huh?
Oh man, there's a handful of those where it's hey man, we live out here in the fucking wilderness. If she doesn't survive one of these childbirths, you have 9 fucking kids, and you can barely feed yourself.
No kidding, yeah.
Oh my God, growing up Catholic, it's just if those 3 families got Thanos snapped out of existence, that church would be empty.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
there'd be 6 lone people in there, each by themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
I think even the real deal Catholic families in our town, I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. I can't think of anyone that had more than 5 kids.
Oh, okay.
And they were very much the exception. Well, there was a lot of fours, but 5 was definitely the exception. Which is funny though. Then you get to my parents' generation. My mom was one of 11. They weren't Catholic. Just poor, wanted to slam. Bored and just something to break up the agony of your life. God, catching what the sex was like for women back then. No guys were going down.
No, man. Had to have been a nightmare.
Just everyone stinks. Everything and everyone stinks. When everything stinks, though, maybe it doesn't matter. It's just everything's farts.
Yeah, it's just...
Life is farts. Well, that's what it all is. There's one long, sad, mournful fart.
Life is farts, says Nathan Folsabach.
When you're on your deathbed, and that fart noise curls to a quick high note and ends. That's a flat line.
No, but I can't imagine sex in those days was any fun for anybody. It's just a chore.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was marital duty. I think that's an actual term.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's just shoveling snow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God. Gross.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Poor women who put up with that shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like I remember being like a kid and like comics, like late nights, dirty comics talking about like not finding like guys don't know where the clit is. It's like Google it. G-spot, Google it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like comics in the 80s and 90s where it's just like, dude, it's not hard.
Yeah, man. Yeah, say what you will about the internet. It had to make sex 10 times better for women. But then, the same shithead guys back then probably are too proud to,
I'm sure they could have gone to an encyclopedia and they didn't.
Yeah, so that's true.
What makes you think they're going to Google
it? The person in town they peg as a serial killer because they're looking at the anatomy textbooks. Yeah, that's the stuff. Really dress her out nice.
I'm going to weird out the librarian, but I got to know.
Yeah, that's love. Holy shit, that is love. You know what? I can't figure it out. My uncles that told me how sex works, they're fucking idiots. I got to go to the public library at the county seat. I got to take an afternoon off from work and go sit in the weird room. They know something's not right. He's never here.
He's also got 2 fishing magazines and a newspaper.
A giant medical textbook.
Just hiding it like you try to hide condoms.
Looking at twats.
Just trying to break up the day.
I just love my wife. When anyone walks by, I just want to make Sandra happy. They have no clue what you're up to. You're just so paranoid.
He's got a Field and Stream open with the pages of medical textbooks.
She's a good woman. She deserves it.
He's got the Field and Stream propped up, but he's actually reading the medical journal inside of it. Just vulvas.
Whoa. I called the cops on him, but in retrospect, I think be the husband of the year in this county.
Marjorie, the librarian, just pokes her head around the corner. Using vulvas. Oh shit! Phew. Thought he was reading about salmons. So, Mayor Quimby's the subject to some paternity suits where they're watching the news, and there's a big-time city reporter there named Chloe, who is someone who Marge knew in high school, and Marge sees how successful Chloe is and realizes that she kind of hasn't done anything with her life.
Because they were kind of equals in high school.
Yeah, or at least she feels like she hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
It kind of makes her feel bad about herself, seeing how successful Chloe is. Played by Kim Cattrall, who's one of them Sex and the City ladies.
Yeah, okay.
I've never seen that show.
That makes more sense.
But I know that name.
And we get the music. Yeah, we get the Sex and the City music when later in the episode, her and Barney rekindle their flames.
Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, I've never seen the show. I don't know the music.
I don't know if I've ever seen an episode, but weird when a show is that big of a pop culture thing, you glob on to some random aspects of it.
I could identify a handful of the people, but I know who Kim Cattrall is. I know who Sarah Jessica
Parker, and the redheaded lady.
Sarah Jessica Parker is in the movie with James Caan I was trying to think of earlier with Nick Cage, which is Honeymoon in Vegas.
Honeymoon in Vegas.
We got there, baby. Hey. Oh my God, I felt like I was going to have a stroke.
There we go.
Oh, and jeez.
The little I know of that movie, they're all 3 of them are in it, and that movie's called Honeymoon in Vegas. That makes total sense. Okay.
And James Caan is trying to pay Nick Cage to have sex with his wife.
There we go.
So I got close with Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. Is about as close as I got.
The plot you described is a lot like Indecent Proposal.
Right, except Indecent Proposal's like a
sultry thriller.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore.
I think Honeymoon in Vegas
is more fun. More of a romp.
Rom-com.
Yep.
Yeah. Whew, man, I'm like sweating. I'm so excited that I thought of it that I'm sweating.
We're back.
Whew.
So, Jesus, now where are we? We're home all.
Kim Cattrall is playing Chloe.
And what I thought was one of the better gags in this episode is the flashback to them as teenagers, and they're under the bleachers, and Marge is making out with Homer. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to her making out with Barney.
Yep.
And he lets out that burp, and it takes a huge pull off a bottle of brake fluid.
Spins the top off of that brake fluid bottle.
So ridiculous.
Barney was even in trouble back then.
Yep.
Like Barney's been on the road he's on for a while.
Yeah, he's a troubled man.
Chloe shows up at the Simpson house where Homer answers the door and she says, "Oh, I remember you. You're the one who barfed in my tuba."
Yeah.
And Homer has the best response. He goes, "I believe it was the school's tuba," which is such a perfect pedantic shithead thing to say.
Yep, it sure is.
Did I laugh
with that
about
tone of voice too?
Yep.
Well, actually.
We get a flashback to them in high school where they were both working for the high school newspaper, which we talked about, I think, just last week. Yep. That sure would have been nice to have one of those. Not that, and then I thought, because you brought that up last week of like, hey, if you had a high school newspaper, I bet High School Marlin would have liked that. And I remember being like, yeah, you're right. And it hit me while watching this. The fuck would we have reported on?
Oh, dude.
Like, that would have been a high school pamphlet at best. That would have been a quarterly.
That's why I always was like, I don't want to do anything actual work related. Let me just talk about movies or whatever. Because there were some kids, they had to go and dutifully write about the junior varsity volleyball game or how the FMLA trip to Devil's Lake was or this or that or the interview the rando new kids that moved to town. Yeah. So there's...
imagine my school newspaper where we didn't have any of the three things you just offered up as options.
You just would have to look at it from a different light, like what are your family's plan if the blight returns, It
would have been all editorials for sure.
It would have been like the Dakota death trip,
Well, after last week's very racist editorial, we fired Levi and hired the other Levi who's going to do movie reviews. We had 2 Levis in my class.
Yeah, you're the right age for Levi's. You're really coming on strong about your age.
We just had the 2, Somehow landed in the same class.
Were they like Levi L and Levi H? That's
Levi T and Levi S. You got it.
And some of those kids never lose that. Like, my brother had an Aaron L in his grade forever.
I bet Levi T is still Levi T.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Poor bastards. I got a unique name, so I'm fine.
So let's say how many kids were on average. I mean, you have to kind of estimate in your high school, 9 through 12 grades, the final 4 years of high school. If you do the math, on average, how many kids were in your high school?
I could probably do the actual math with enough time. 9 through 12 when I'm a senior?
Yep, let's say when you're a senior.
40?
That's even more than I was going to guess.
Tops? I think I'm being a little generous.
So, like, even for my standards, it's so small. Like, so there's there's one new kid, maybe a year. One new kid.
A year.
Yeah.
No, we got a new kid in 6th grade, and that was the last new kid we got.
So crazy. Our school, I had about 60 in my class. That was about the average size around that time.
In your class?
In my class, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I had 16 in mine.
So there was enough that like there'd just be like, oh, who's that shitbird? Just be some rando kid. So you're like, they probably sat you all down to emotionally prepare you. Like, there's a kid that you haven't known since birth coming to town. Like
you're gonna need to be nice to this one.
Yeah, or you don't be scared of him.
I think when I was a senior, a new 7th grader showed up. Like that was, and I bet she hated it.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. No, we had 16, and we were the biggest class in school by a multitude of a lot.
I think to enjoy it, though, let's say if you're a kid that you're not eccentric, you're pretty normal, and you're moderately good at sports in your big city, you move to your hometown. You're the best basketball player.
Oh, for sure.
So that part of it is probably nice.
If a 3 out of 5 basketball player would have showed up in our town, they'd have been a 5 out of 5 basketball player.
Or if you're a marginally personable young lady, marginally attractive, that does marginally well in school, you're the prom queen. You're the everything, sure.
The basketball in particular, because our basketball team was horrible.
Oh, no,
we were a football school.
Which was baffling to me because that was the opposite of us. Yeah.
Oh, man, our basketball team was dog shit. And the really good basketball teams from the Standing Rock Reservation would come up and just whoop the dog shit out of us.
Just putting up NBA Jam scores.
Man,
145 to 13.
Gross. Yeah. They were playing basketball and we were playing hockey, if you're looking at the scoreboard.
Good effort.
Yeah, just drag our doughy kids up and down the court the whole fucking game.
We've been carbo loading for football. Coach has to drink more Mellow Yellow. I don't think it's helping.
That's what's in the coolers. It's not Gatorade.
And they don't have a fountain pop machine, so there's a mom cracking cans of Mellow Yellow, pouring them in as quick as she can. These boys should burn through this Mellow Yellow.
The spigot is all sticky. Oh God. So there's a scene, I forget what the setup is. I just wrote down the punchline, but something about like Marge being like, well, I did okay in life, like maybe not as good as Chloe, but I have these kids, and it cuts to Bart in the living room with a handsaw sawing the
top
television.
Of the TV. Yeah.
Holy shit. And like he's sawing like too fast, like he's furiously just sawing the television, which is such a fucking great visual gag.
Terrific.
Can you imagine being such a shitbird that you're sawing the television? Oh, fuck.
It's like he's like cutting a slab off it. Like he's like preparing a prime rib.
Just stuck in the top. Oh shit, I was wrecked. That killed me. That was so fucking funny. Lisa super looks up to Chloe, and that drives Marge nuts. Because like Chloe isn't blameless in this. She is successful and all that, but she's also a little bit of a shithead. She also thinks she's better than Marge. Like both her and Marge think she's better than Marge.
I wrote a note here. I was like, anyone famous come from your hometown? But I'm like, you know what? I got Wikipedia. I could check it out. Your entire county that you grew up in is bereft of if you click on a Wikipedia page for a town, there'll be notable people. Most of them had nothing. One of the tertiary towns in their area on the outskirts, there was a guy, this is as good as it got. There was a guy that was a city councilman in Los Angeles that was there when they had some big court case in the 60s. That's it.
Yeah.
There's probably a statue of him in one of those towns.
You know who's the most notable person from my hometown?
Who's it?
Me. That's how bad off they are. Like, honestly, when I think of like, who like made it furthest from my hometown? Do you remember about 10 years ago when defensive end Michael Strahan had a real public ugly divorce? That woman is from my hometown.
Oh, yeah, you've mentioned that.
That's as close to fame as we got. Somebody married and divorced someone
moved far
that
enough,
some people have heard of.
Moved far enough away from the farm to get some big city slams.
She got into, I think she's in the fashion world. She's a designer or something.
Well, that is fancy.
Like, she has a bit of a name for herself.
She needs
it's not a name that even I can remember.
Talk to the good people at Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They are slipping.
Marge and Chloe get into a big fight. It doesn't go full Peter versus the Rooster.
Yeah, they get violent though.
Yeah, they get in a fight. Something about seeing Marge with a black eye triggered something in me where I'm like, nope, don't like that.
Nope.
But she pulls a product out of the medicine cabinet. Irish Strength Shiner Be Gone.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that too.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah.
She sprays that and takes the shiner away. Lisa sneaks out because Chloe is going to go to Capital City to report on something or another.
Yeah.
Lisa stows away
thing.
the UN Women's Council or something along those lines. Lisa stows away in the trunk, so Chloe doesn't know she's with her, and she gets a call saying that Mount Springfield,
of course,
the Springfield volcano, not the first time we've seen the Springfield volcano,
which
but
is great.
They do have one. Is erupting, so they want her to cover that instead. So she flips a bitch, heads back to Springfield. The Simpsons, Homer and Marge realize that Lisa is missing, and so they go to Capital City to rescue her. And then they see on TV that Chloe is reporting live from the volcano and has enlisted the help of Lisa to be her cameraman, because you're here, you may as well help. So Homer and Marge are like, we gotta go save her. And Homer says, I'll go as fast as I can, but I'm full of potato salad.
Which is very slow.
And then gives like a real meek, like, kind of waddle out of frame, which is very funny.
Yeah.
They get to the volcano. Chloe and Lisa are trapped, and Marge saves Lisa, and Barney swoops in on his helicopter and saves Chloe.
He can do that.
You forget that he's a helicopter pilot. Yeah, not often you can say that sentence, but yes, I forgot he was a helicopter pilot.
And he makes it seem like he's going to get sober, and this is a new life they're going to lead together.
Yeah.
Like, this could really turn things around for me.
And then she says something about, like, how about a half hour of pity sex instead?
And his response, is there any other kind? Which is very good.
Barney, there for sure is. But yes, that's not my favorite of the bunch.
That's okay.
Maybe one of my least favorite of the bunch.
Oh, really? But I still didn't think
I look ahead.
I think there's been a few dozen episodes this level or worse, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah, like, it's by no means fucking set the television on fire or anything like that, but just kind of, this is fine. This is okay. That fucking Bart sawing through that television.
That was a good visual gag.
Holy shit. Yeah, that was very funny.
But you're right, though. This is definitely a step down from the previous two.
I think we're coming off two pretty hot ones.
Yeah. Good point.
The main problem.
Episode 5, Fat Man, Little Boy.
The bombs.
They are the little bombs, yeah. Bart loses his last baby tooth via an accidental elbow smash from Marge. She's got a mashed potatoes thing, potato masher stuck in a drawer. It happens.
Yep, a potato masher is a drawer's worst enemy.
It absolutely is. We've all been there. And she's yanking. She kicks back and does a real hard elbow into Bart's face. But he's pretty psyched because he's got his last baby tooth. And him and Milhouse have convinced that that's the most valuable one.
That's the money tooth.
I like that idea. Some are worth more than others.
There's a moment before Marge knocks his tooth out where he realizes it's loose. And he puts his finger in his mouth and starts wiggling it. And I had a visceral reaction.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I was like, God, no.
I remember being a kid thinking, okay, it's ready, and then twisting it too far and feeling like a tear. Like, no. It's not ready to go.
God.
Not ready to go.
I was the least brave boy when it came to loose teeth. Like, I'd leave that in my head forever if I could.
Your adult teeth are pushing out your baby teeth.
I've repressed a lot, but I can pretty vividly remember just like begging my mom not to pull that tooth.
Oh, really?
Please. And after every one, it was like, oh, that's way better, but never learned the next time. Like, came time for another one. No, I was the softest boy.
I just remember thinking, like, get this thing out, because he used to just bug me. Just like I'd be flicking it with my tongue. Like, I just want to be thinking in school, like, just be thinking about that tooth. Get the goddamn tooth out of here.
Not me.
Slowing up the program.
Was there a tooth fairy at your house?
Yeah. So I remember putting teeth underneath a pillow. I remember getting like a quarter tooth, I think, looking back.
Tooth fairy paid $1 at my house.
Oh, yeah. But no, I know mine was coinage. Almost. Maybe my mom would refute that. I just seem to remember getting some coins.
Mine were always 4 quarters. It was always coins, but it was $1.
Okay.
Yeah. And mine you didn't put under the pillow. You put in a shot glass of water in the bathroom. Awesome. I think because my parents didn't want to go all the way upstairs where my room was.
Or they want mucus and blood-stained sheets.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for it.
So he is excited about all the cash he's going to make off this last tooth. He ends up getting like a donation to the United Way.
Yeah.
Such a good gag. What an awesome thing to give a child.
The Tooth Fairy made a donation in your name to the United Way. He's so mad.
And his old Marge, he's like, well, the Tooth Fairy, he knows you're not a little boy anymore, so he got you a gift that reflects your age. And Bart is bummed about growing up.
Trying to be a kid.
Yeah.
When he's riding that car thing, whatever you call those things.
In front of like a Kmart or something like that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever ridden one of those.
Maybe if I was with someone else besides my parents, maybe I could like con an aunt into it or something.
Put a quarter in and sit on the horse or
the
whatever.
The rare time I was ever there without my parents and something like that. But yeah, that my dad was not going to sit there for 45 seconds and
I wasn't going to get a quarter for that.
I say this thing. I wonder if there wasn't a time when I still had that new kid smell, or maybe they both had a little more time to watch me enjoy things. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like I don't remember being 3 that well.
Yeah, same here. So maybe I did. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say no, but
I remember one time opening up a He-Man guy in Target when I was a really little kid. I mean, I barely remember just bits and pieces of this, and I lost Beastman's whip. Mm-hmm. And my mom and her friend Karen looked around Target for the whip that I dropped. A tiny little plastic whip. My mom gave it a year. Tough luck, tough titty little kitty. Fucking guess you shouldn't have been dumb.
Guess you shouldn't have dropped your fucking whip.
But there was a moment, I think they still have that new kid smell where you're still real cute. They'll placate you a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe I had that. I don't know.
Bart tries to squeeze himself into that little mechanical car. Tries a few other things that just don't really work, and he kind of realizes it himself.
I'm not a kid anymore.
He brings out a box of old toys. We got some Kansas dust in the wind.
Yeah.
Gives his old toys a Viking funeral, which is pretty gnarly.
Pretty fucking metal. I like that. I was wondering because he pushes it out onto the lake or whatever, and I was like, how's he gonna light it on fire? Certainly Bart doesn't have a flaming bow, but he just holds up that magnifying glass and sets it on fire. You think is there any legality standing in the way between you or I getting a Viking funeral when we pass?
I don't know, man. I've always said, don't spend a goddamn nickel at bury me in a shallow grave in the woods. God, that's what I want. I want teenagers to stumble upon my skeleton and flip out. Like, that's what I want.
Bury me next to the abandoned pornography by the creek.
Yeah, about 18 inches, so after a while it'll settle and the earth will shift. All of a sudden, a part of my skull will peek out.
Just enough to keep the coyotes off of me.
Man, you nailed it. That's exactly what I want. Yeah.
So somewhere someone back home is listening and freaking out that I said creek and coyote.
Like, I get country boy comes up at me when I hear coyote. Oh, they're coyotes. That's city talk.
That's coyote. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I just blacked
creek
out
and crick will flip. I think creek and crick will flip interchangeably where I'm from.
I'll say creek if I'm trying to church it up. If I'm out to impress somebody.
I think it depends on the body of water. We have Oak Creek and Willow Creek. I do not know why they differ.
Oh God.
We do also get Sea Captain giving us a little Robert Frost, which I thought was a nice touch.
Nice somber, salient words out of the Sea Captain.
And Bart returns home, and Lisa senses that something's off, and she's like, well, you could, write something to get your feelings out. I do this. I write plays. I write this. Bart says, or I could write something that's not gay.
Yeah.
And it aged so
well. It was a spicy one. Yeah. As soon as he said it, I was like, jeez.
So Bart,
that scene with him and Lisa starts with her coming to the door while he's still in bed and being like, come on, you got to come and get breakfast. And he's, bro, whatever, I don't want. And she says, good luck getting a pancake. Dad's pulled his chair right up to the stove.
So good. Just, cutting out the middleman, just eating him right out of the pan.
That idea is so funny to me that Homer or anyone would just pull a kitchen chair right up to the griddle.
Yeah, that is
very funny to me.
So Bart does take Lisa's advice, and he starts making ironic slogans on T-shirts.
Yeah, snarky shirts.
Yeah. Were you ever a snarky shirt kid?
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe when I was older and I was buying my own clothes, but like, was Big Johnson shirts a thing by the time you were?
I think Big Johnsons were before me. I grew up in like Big Dog, No Fear territory.
Big Johnson goes way harder in the paint.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
very
for sure.
sexual innuendo.
But the attitudinal shirts were No Fear shirts for sure.
Yeah.
And I wasn't wearing those.
Yeah. No Fear shirts, at least when I was in school, they weren't cheap. They weren't like Target quality.
Right.
Like
no,
Walmart.
that was like a name brand.
Yeah. They had 2 No Fear. There were some No Fear knockoffs. It was a weird time. It's a weird time to wear cotton. Bart's novelty T-shirts, they are a hit. He starts selling from his own little stand, and Moe asks for a T-shirt of Calvin peeing on Hobbs.
Right?
This is weird.
Yeah. Like, the Calvin peeing on things thing is weird in and of itself.
And it's such a weird thing.
But Hobbs?
Yeah. It's such a weird thing that caught on because, like, if you know anything about Calvin and Hobbes, you know that Bill Watterson never once merched out Calvin and Hobbes. He was against the idea, but, you know, you don't have to change it much, so it technically isn't Calvin, but we all know who it is.
To be bootleg.
Yep.
You just got to change a little.
And he doesn't have the money to pay off the bullies and the local cops. Like, geez, this is a rough town to run a business in. So the cops shut down his T-shirt shop or his stand.
There's a moment where Wiggum is dealing him shit, and he's like, and you got a light out, and he knocks he breaks one of the
LA gears.
lights in his sneakers. You have any light up sneakers when you were a kid?
No, they were just. And when I was in school, they were for little kids.
Okay.
By the time they came out, I was like, no, that's kid stuff.
I forget about our age difference.
Yep.
I for
you are the right
had
age.
some motherfucking light up sneakers.
I think LA Gear pioneered the light up sneaker technology.
They should make them for adults. You think? I bet I can buy I bet I can buy light up sneakers.
No, I bet you can
for myself today.
I think you should.
And then put my old man plantar fasciitis insoles in them and walk around with my kid sneakers.
Ankles just bursting the laces.
Velcro.
So Homer, Bart is kind of down on his luck until he realizes, hey, I don't just have to do this on my own. So he goes to like this novelty expo.
Yeah.
And if you pause, you get some good fake like novels because it's we get Apu walking around with his nose in the air because he's the belle of the ball.
He's a retailer.
Because he owns a store, and some of the options he's looking at, it's like fuzzy, hairy golf balls, which are gross. Like, and is it just ice cubes? Is one of them? Like, like, hey, try a free sample.
Poison ice cubes.
Oh, it's poison. Yeah, I thought it was just ice cubes, which that's peculiar.
Yeah, it's. I was never one for like this section of Spencer's. Yeah, the fake dog vomit and
I was a little kid. I liked some of that stuff.
Like I missed out on all of this.
Yeah. So Bart, he tries to set up a stand, but he's destroyed by the robotic Krusty Co. T-shirt stand made by kids for kids,
which is very funny.
Yeah. So he walks out of the novelty expo all dejected and gets hit by like a Duesenberg car.
Yeah.
Nearly killed. This weirdo named Goose Gladwell pops out.
Yeah, like a Willy Wonka type.
Yep. And he just thinks these T-shirts are the cat's ass. So he's scooping them up.
I like this character a lot.
Yeah, I like the real weirdo characters.
Yeah.
So brings him out, brings him to his shop because he owns novelty shops across that area.
Yeah.
And so, they are in business to the point Homer quits work because he's wearing a novelty shirt and Burns and Smithers see it and they start berating him. He's just like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, my kid is making so much T-shirt money, I quit.
Yeah, it's got that T-shirt empire back home. Then it's just Homer like laying on the couch in his novelty T-shirt watching TV. He's watching a commercial for a change sorting machine.
Yeah, Ronco. They even say the name Ronco.
Yep. I bought one of those as a kid. Boy, that is an alarm bell in your head if your kid's going to be a dork.
A change sorting machine?
Yep. I just thought it was cool. You put them in a slot and it would go down like a series of slides and it'd land in whatever proper pile. Yeah. Quarters, nickels, pennies,
I mean, that's objectively cool. Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
We never had one of those, but we would sit every so often when the change jar got full and roll change.
Oh, man. I haven't thought of that in a while.
Yeah, that was a party night at the Wells household.
Now I still use the same, whatever fancy bottle of whiskey I once bought came in a tin that gets filled with coins and it fills up. I dump it. I just throw it at someone at the bank and scream, deal with it. And they fucking hand me a cash equivalent.
My coin holder is a half-gallon pitcher, like you would put orange juice in or something. Yeah. And then my bank has a machine that you pour it in.
Oh, really? Okay.
It prints you off a thing and you take it and they give you real money for it.
Look
at me, now. Hollywood living.
Yeah. No more rolling nickels.
Yeah. Man, rolling coins was a fucking nightmare chore.
What a job, yeah. So, yeah, they are now flush with T-shirt money. But Bart now is kind of the man of the house. There's a good sign where he kind of pushes Homer off the couch and uses him as an ottoman.
While Homer's watching that nature show about the old lion being pushed aside.
So Homer, like this, he's like kind of takes a cue from it, and he's like, "Oh, help out someone else in the pride." So he goes over to help Lisa work on her science project. And his quote is, "Lisa, basic cable says I should nurture you," which is so good.
So good.
And Lisa's making like a makeshift kind of nuclear reactor, I think.
Yeah, like kind of just a model of it, though. Yep. Like just nothing too fancy. Just here's nuclear power.
And then we get Martin, who's built a robot. Don't hold my hand. It feels weird.
Yeah. The robot called the Child Humanoid Urban Muchacho, or CHUM.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Very good.
Martin. Never change, Martin.
So Lisa knows now that, oh boy, the stakes have raised. Mm-hmm. She doesn't think she can compete. Homer's like, hey, remember, I kind of worked at a power plant once. He breaks in and just far too easily steals plutonium. I hope it's way harder than that.
Just takes a rod, licks it for no reason.
Just show it's the good stuff.
While that motherfucking Pink Panther theme plays. Yeah, God, that song is perfect.
Yep, good point. That is what's playing in the background. And he, in the garage, builds a makeshift, what is a bomb?
Yep.
But he says it's a little nuclear reactor that she can use for science.
But I like that Lisa, when she's alarmed that seeing what Homer has made, says, "Mom, Dad made something that would be horrible in the wrong hands, and it's in Dad's hands." Like, that's such a good way to put that.
Yeah, and Marge immediately realizes that's a bad thing. She just quickly goes into crisis mode. And during all this time, it turns out that Goose Gladwell sold out Bart to Disney Co.
Yeah, and sold all the T-shirt rights.
He gets nothing from it, and he's very sad.
Yeah.
And Homer he's going to the dump to get rid of that nuclear bomb that he built. He sees Bart all sad, and he's like, Bart's like, "Oh, I'm just a little kid, and they took advantage of me." And Homer's like, "Oh, not on my watch." He goes and he's good dad in it, and he threatens Goose Gladwell, who does not duck confrontation because he's a battle-scarred Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
We find out.
Mentions
that's what made me
like this
crazy.
Yeah, this is what made me so weird.
Yeah.
Which adds a whole layer to this character of like,
what's going on with Goose?
Oh boy!
And at that time, Homer, he's ready to play ball too. So he's like, "Hey, I got a literal bomb, a nuclear bomb that will decimate," was like the Tri-City area or something.
He turns it up to low, and the plastic dog vomit starts bubbling.
Yeah. He's like, "Okay, here's all the money I have." He's like, "Okay, I want this talking toilet seat." He just grabs a bunch of trinkets that you would find at a novelty shop. Yeah. So he's good dad in this one.
Yeah, and I like when we get good dad Homer. We don't get that super often. Yeah. So, not I don't think it's as good as either of those first two, but pretty good.
Yep, I would put it a step ahead of just slightly ahead of the previous, below the first two.
Agreed.
I have a hunch we're not going to beat the first two very often. Those are very good episodes.
Those are real fucking solid episodes, those first two. That Margin Nelson one in particular is super good. I liked that episode a lot. This one, some good chuckles. I really like Goose Gladwell a whole bunch.
Goose Gladwell saved that episode.
Yeah. Solid work, Simpsons. One last one, episode 6, Midnight RX. When you see RX, do you say prescription? Or do you say Rix or RX?
I would either say RX or prescription.
Yeah. If I were to see this, I would say Midnight Prescription.
Or Midnight Script. You get that script?
Okay, sure. Yeah, that seems a little...
cool.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
It's a little...
Yep. I get that script.
Informal was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm very formal.
Me and all the teens are very informal.
Yeah, me and my tuxedo look down at you. There's an employee party happening at the museum. Lisa points out that isn't this kind of shitty to do at the museum
families,
because the other families drove here for this? I like that she is always right on top of it to be disgruntled about something.
Yeah.
There's a great gag here of a museum video about museum videos.
Yep.
Where it's like, at first glance, this is about the history of aviation, like the Wright brothers and shit. But the video is just about videos at museums. I thought that was very good.
Yeah.
Real good meta joke. There's a Burns mascot. We get a real brief mention that Agnes was a wing walker.
I love that.
Back in like the 20s?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep, very great.
Wing walkers, by the way, it's amazing that she's alive.
Yep.
The mortality rate
Could not have been good.
among wing walkers and barnstormers in the 20s and 30s was dismal.
How much do you think it blew a country boy's mind to see an aeroplane?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like what? This defies God's will.
Much
Man
less
is on the ground.
Much less an aeroplane with a lady
pretty
standing
lady
on it,
dancing seductively on the wings.
Yeah, doing burlesque on a biplane. Burlesque.
They gave too much. They should have given one, then the other the next month. You know,
wouldn't even to get some cash out of those podunks. You probably wouldn't even have had to flown. You could have driven that thing around in a big circle, and they'd have thrown their pennies.
Or just have a marginally attractive woman flop a titty out. Ta-da!
No plane,
just
even.
Everyone just panicking, throwing their whole wallets at you. Like, oh!
I ain't got no money, but you can have my cow.
Yeah, just slapping livestock on the ass to get them to run your direction. Like,
no plane, just a traveling one titty show.
Yeah. She doesn't even get out of the back of the truck. Just plops a titty out. Here you
Agnes
go.
are going to be left or right today.
I don't know. What direction's the sun coming in at?
We started righty the last few days. Maybe give it a rest. It's like pitching at that point. Good titty management. We get a brief look at this enormous plywood plane that Burns had flown, the plywood Pelican. That'll come back later. That's why they show us now. Burns gets everybody together and is like, hey, aren't you having a great time? I am canceling the prescription coverage on your healthcare plan. Something that I don't think I've ever had. But they seem upset to have lost it.
You never had a good job with good bennies?
I think...
Never had Blue Cross Blue Shield?
I've had one job with health insurance. I'm 36, and I've had one job with health insurance. And I do believe there was prescription coverage, now that I think about it. It was one of those 80-20s. We'll pay 80, you pay 20 on everything.
Yeah, mine's... I had a nightmarish customer service job. The one thing it did give us was good health insurance.
Oh, really?
I had good health insurance for years, for far more than most of my friends. But I also made peanuts because I never had a tip job or I was making kick-ass money. So, yeah.
You can have one or the other. You can have a job with good benefits or a job with good pay.
You can be poor and go to the dentist or not poor and not go to the dentist. Exactly. Those are your options.
Yeah. And either way, the dentist is going to cost too much.
Yep. Yeah.
Like either way, you're going to go either into debt or close to it.
Yeah. You're either going to go into debt or just, no, I can't do it. I just can't have teeth, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I guess that's just what I'm going to do. No more teeth.
Like, I guess pull it because it's cheaper is something a lot of my friends have dealt with.
Oh, I'm missing a tooth because of that.
Oh, yeah? Because it was cheaper to yank it?
Yeah. They explained what a root canal would cost. I was working part-time, so I just had a hearty laugh. Like, that's wonderful.
That's adorable.
Don't you ever change, but let's pull that tooth out of my head. Like,
unreal. Yeah.
Like, you could have. Oh, it's 1,800. Make it 180,000. I have as good a chance of paying that off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I may as well. What's medical school cost? Yeah, Charge me that much.
I'll go to dental school and pull my own tooth out.
It would be cheaper for me to go to dentistry school, get my DMD, and take it myself.
Because so that's what you want me to do. Apparently, no. I'll just have you yank this dumb tooth out of my head.
Yeah, that's where we're at, international listeners.
It's a hellscape.
Yeah, it's great. We're doing real good.
How baffling it must be to people in modern countries that we, not even jokingly, have to border jump to get not dying pills.
Yeah, this whole episode.
It's not like we're getting dick hitters. We're going for the things that keep your grandma alive.
Dick hitters.
Like we're trying to get stuff like insulin. Kids aren't huffing insulin. That's what they need to live.
Yeah.
Like.
To be clear, we also got to go to Canada for our dick hitters because they're real expensive.
Get those, or you can just maybe do them like the herbal ones. Those are cheaper, but I'm sure they don't work.
Yeah, the kind you get from the gas station.
Ones that almost killed Lamar Odom. Shout out to Lamar Odom. You're doing better. He took a bunch of supplement dong pills and almost
Rogan
KO'd.
advertised.
Yeah. Took too much Yohimbe. He got that horny goat Yohimbe combo. Almost put him in the grave.
I love, if you're ever at a decent truck stop, the dick pills by the counter are so much fun to look at.
Which, I mean, I get trucker speed. You need to stay awake. You're a truck driver.
I understand it.
I just don't get these truckers that are driving across Wisconsin. God, I just need my dick to be harder tonight. So I
mean, it'll keep you awake.
Yeah.
You ever try to fall asleep with an erection?
That is true, yeah. Man, good point. Very good point. Man, want to terrify a highway patrolman? You got a snake bite, officer. Suck it out.
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over? Because I got a bunk back here? Is that why?
You like what you see? Do a little window shopping, trooper? I'm all tarted up.
Sir, were you driving with no hands back there? I sure was.
I got my dress Peterbilt cap on and you wanted to pay me a compliment?
Holy shit. The mental image of a trucker pulling over and changing Peterbilt hats. Put on the nice one.
Yeah, get the night and hair wet. You didn't shampoo it, but you just wet it in a sink in a truck stop and kind of parted it.
I loaded up on these off-brand dick pills back there at that Shell station.
You could test the tires of this fucker. I used to have a swamper. He saw this cop. He's been hiding in the back. I think he might have ran out.
I couldn't read none of the ingredients on there, but it had Ryu from Street Fighter on it, so I figured that's probably a good sign. That's definitely not copyright infringement. Oh shit. That's what's always so much fun is it's all just nonsense words and a clearly not licensed
the best thing
property.
One of the very few things I learned at my job is if you gave me those ingredients, I could kind of give you a rundown as to what it's supposed to do. And
you cooking up some dick pills at home? Is that what you're doing?
I just worked in the dick pill game for a long time.
Mixing them up on a little breadboard?
Yeah. Man, if I should do designer dick pills.
Nathan's cocktail.
Yeah.
Cock in all caps.
C-A-W-K.
Nathan's cocktails. Boy, I don't know what he puts in these, but I am harder than a horseshoe right now. Fight off a mugger with this thing.
That's our promise.
Oh, shit. Oh, I don't even know how we got here. So yeah, Burns eliminates the prescription coverage. Everybody's pissed. We get a news report on it, and part of the news report we see Hibbert covered in drug company swag because he's living large, because that's how it works. Much like we said last week, it's not often the Simpsons do a "yo, we got something to say" episode, but I'll be damned if we're not right here again with another one.
Yeah, and this episode aired in 2004. Hey, Simpsons writer struck in 2004. It hasn't got any better. Still the shit. So, I mean, keep on keeping on. Keep truth to power. We're all for it. But
Yep. Nothing's gotten better. This is as salient an episode as it is now, almost 20 years later. Because America's a nightmare hellscape.
The rest of the world has had what we want for decades. Yeah. Take it for granted. Like
Nathan, we got too many bombs to buy.
You know, there's so many countries that need to be vaporized.
We can't be dipping into the bombing budget, just so you can go to the doctor.
You don't want your grandpa's feet to fall off.
Nathan doesn't want to just live with heart palpitations. Sometimes your heart just needs to do a little dun 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 dun. Just a little quick Phil Collins riff, and you're good.
Sick of the basic 4/4 beat. It wants to do some drum fills,
just
baby.
A quick little
Tito Puente. Hey, having fun. That's what we're doing. Did you black out? Good drum solo make you black out.
Nathan's just walking around Lars Ulrich. He needs to be Neil Peart every so often. Oh, it's a nightmare. We get Marge and Lisa at the pharmaceutical place, and this fucking sleazebag pharmaceutical rep who just shows them the Huey Lewis and the News I Want a New Drug music video and takes off. This is happening all over town. Everyone's getting off of the prescription drug coverage, including the old folks' home. Spoiler alert, they need those there.
Yep.
No more drugs at the old folks' home. So Homer and Abe hatch a plan. They head to Canada to get some drugs.
We get a montage with Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit. Like the second time we've had that in a Simpsons episode.
Yes.
Still a banger.
Was the first the drug coyote one in the
or
desert,
one of
maybe?
During that weird run of Lisa being on drugs all the time.
It's definitely happened before.
Early on.
White Rabbit is a certified banger.
Yep.
I love White Rabbit.
Holds up. Definitely.
Give it to me all day, White Rabbit.
And I noticed something fun. This might have been the second trip to Canada. They're driving on the highway, and the exits are for Winnipeg and Gimli. Gimli is a tiny town, I think, on the shores of Lake Winnipeg.
Really?
Yeah. So that leads to believe that they are taking I-29 through
Fargo,
North Dakota,
and
to
Grand
get
Forks
up there.
And,
This episode aired in 2004. You and I were both living in Fargo. Mm-hmm. At one point, you and I might have been in town at the same time as Homer Simpson.
Yeah, and Abe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they came right through here.
Missed them.
Not to brag, but we are close to Canada.
We sure are.
It's the weirdest flex anyone's ever had.
I mean, I grew up close. I've been to Canada, I don't know, 100 times in my life.
I have been there 0 times.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I really should. Mm-hmm. I've heard wonderful things about Winnipeg's strip clubs.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I should go check that out, or go see a Jets game.
Yep.
I think.
I should have. I regret not going. Our FFA group used to take a yearly trip to a Jets game, and I
really
flaked out. I'm sure there was a fucking bonfire party I couldn't miss out on.
Right.
So I flaked out on one of them. And back then they played in the old, whatever it was called, MTS Arena, where like every third seat you were behind a brick column.
A Roman
column. It was like a black and white monitor. It's like you're supposed to watch it on. Like there's no shitholes left. I wish I could have seen a game in a shithole.
All the shitholes are going.
Yeah.
You can still go to Soldier Field.
Yeah, they've even stuck money into that. Oh, you know where a guy needs to go?
How dare they?
You need to go to an Oakland athletics game. The Coliseum is still a concrete nightmare.
Yeah. I've never been to a professional sporting event of any sport.
Yeah.
Unless you count wrestling. But those are just held at sporting events. Like those are just held in sports arenas.
You need to put that on a to-do list in the next 3 years.
Let's go to Winnipeg.
There you go.
Let's go to a fucking Jets game.
I don't have a fucking...
Are other countries taking Americans yet?
No.
Can we go to Winnipeg if we wanted to?
Yeah, I don't think we can. And I need to get a passport.
You don't have a passport?
Bro, I don't leave the country.
Still, you should have a passport.
We wouldn't do that if you're not leaving the country.
You know what? We can't go to the doctor. So you're right. You're absolutely
I have bigger
right.
fish to fry. My teeth always hurt.
Now that I think about it, I don't have any right to get high and mighty on you. The only reason I have one is because I had to for work.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I was just going to ask, but yeah, you went to the Orient.
I don't think you're supposed to call it that.
When you say it in that voice, you can.
Okay.
If you're calling someone,
if you say so,
I'm not going to say the word.
Sure.
But if you refer to the land as the Orient, you're allowed to do it, bro.
As long as it's in that voice.
I fucking looked it up. I made some calls. It's cool. I plan everything out so far in advance.
All right. Yep.
Including going to other countries.
Yep. That's where I went.
And you had the time of your life.
I did. God damn it! What a time.
Mm-hmm. How many human skulls you crushed? Hunting them for sport.
Ate so much seafood.
That's what you're thinking. It was the shellfish you crushed.
Oh man, just crabbing shellfish up your ass.
You think you're like a sea monster?
How many clams are on this island?
They've never seen someone as big as you or anyone with blonde hair. Everything's just what in the what?
Dude, you laugh, but I traveled with a friend of mine who is taller than I am, probably 6'8".
Oh wow.
And like 350. Built like a brick shithouse, but the softest boy you've ever met. And people in Hong Kong would openly point at him. It wasn't bullying, it wasn't mean-spirited in the least. It was just, look at how big that person is. Like, it was completely innocent, but it was so funny to watch.
Take pictures with him on the subway. Yep, I've heard of that.
Look at that big American.
Yep. I've heard people of our size will get that too. Just
I never did.
Really? Like, I've heard if you're like,
but I was also with him the whole time, so whatever.
Yeah. He must be his handler.
Or his pet.
Yeah. You just crawl into a knapsack on his back when you're tired.
Like Yoda riding on Luke. We get to hear White Rabbit, which is wonderful. They come back with the drugs. Everybody's super happy that they smuggled back these drugs. The Souvenir Jacket Gang, we get to see them, which I love. The Souvenir Jacket Gang thanks Abe for the drugs by giving him a souvenir jacket from the film Operation Dumbo Drop, which is the best. That's the best jacket to make a joke of right here.
The D is for Dumbo, N for drop.
Have you seen that film?
Nope.
What?
I'm old enough. I was like 18 when that came out.
I forget about our age disparity. I saw that movie several times because we owned it on VHS, and you gotta watch something. It's got Dennis Leary in it.
Yeah, it does.
I saw Operation Dumbo Drop long before I ever saw a second of Dennis Leary's stand-up comedy.
That's what you know. Good to see he dabbles in stand-up.
Oh, look at that. He's
not just a delightful children's actor.
He does this, too, huh? Boy, he's got a foul mouth compared to Operation Dumbo Drop.
He used to be so nice.
How many cigarettes is he going to smoke? So they're going to go do another run. Apu and Ned both beg to come with on this run. We get to Canada, and they find another Ned.
Oh, so great.
Canadian Ned.
The Canadian Ned mashup was wonderful.
Oh, God. So they're just diddly-iddling at each other.
Oakley dokley diddly-diddling. Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
He's basically Ned with a perm.
Yeah, it's like Ned with
Ned.
Curly hair and mustache. They're headed back across the border, and they get busted. They're on TV getting busted, and I love that the newscaster is like, former American astronaut Homer Simpson was arrested today. That's such a good joke because he went to space in that one episode.
I love earlier in this batch episodes. I think it's maybe the one where the newscaster lady comes back where the camera pans over Springfield. I love the little things that they remember, like shit like that. There's still the tire fire burning.
The Springfield tire fire.
I love when they remember Cannon.
Oh God, that was so good. Smithers is hanging out with Mr. Burns and fucking drops, and his neck is all swelled up like a bullfrog because he can't get his thyroid medication anymore.
He's all goofed up.
And so he's going to fucking die.
Yep.
So Burns hops to it. He meets up with the boys and flies them in that fucking plywood plane to Manitoba. And they get drugs. They load it all. They load that wooden plane full of drugs.
What's the plane that's based off of? Because this is the plywood Pelican. What's the one that Hearst built? The Spruce Goose.
Yes, the Spruce Goose. I was trying to think of it, but yep, that's
giant
the one.
wooden plane.
Was that Hearst or?
It's not Hearst. Is it the other one?
Yeah,
the newspaper magnate.
The one that Stark is based off of.
Yep.
The Aviator.
Yeah,
people are screaming at their phones right now. Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes. Hey, there we go.
Boy.
Yeah, we did it though.
We couldn't have another honeymoon in Vegas situation
we
where
got there.
That hangs for another hour.
We're improving.
So Burns flies him up there. They load it full of drugs. They're bringing it back. They hit some turbulence, and Burns bails out of the plane.
His line. We have 3 parachutes. This one's for me. These 2 are gifts for my nephews.
And jumps out of the plane. God damn it, Burns. So they crash land the plane in the town center. Abe is getting arrested, but then the townsfolk stick up for him because he brought the drugs that we need. So don't arrest him, goddammit.
Yeah.
Wiggum is a fucking wet noodle. He's like, okay.
He bends to pressure.
Yeah, buckles like a belt, that one. Burns, in the meantime, lands at his mansion and rushes upstairs, gives Smithers the medicine, and then it doesn't work for just a second, so he gives him mouth to mouth, and Smithers wakes up while getting it, like, loving it. And so he's alive, and Burns puts the drug policy back in place, and that's the end of the episode.
I think you're missing an important part.
Oh, shit, am I?
Puts the drug plan back in place, and then announces they're all contract employees, so none of them get it. Because that's
I did miss that.
That's the thing companies in America do.
Hooray.
That's what Microsoft does. They don't hire employees. They hire contractors who employ people so they don't have to pay anyone health insurance.
It's the WWE method. You're all independent contractors.
Everyone. How many listeners, Marlon? How many downloads do you think we've gotten from overseas listeners?
Boy, that's
hard to quantify. Let's say if there's
150
150 of you, that'd be great. If there are, somehow convince your governments to invade us.
Please,
please, just take us over. We just want it. We want normal people to run things.
We for sure have Irish listeners. You guys seem to be doing all right.
Yeah. You know why they're all right? Because they don't take over other countries.
Right,
They buy medicine instead of grenades.
I got my eye on Sweden, and I think I would fit in real nice in Gothenburg, Sweden.
You think so?
Which is on the west coast of Sweden. It never gets like above 70 or below 50 because it's right on the ocean. Nice laid-back culture.
I recently found out that Bogota, Colombia only goes between 65 and 69 degrees any time of year.
Ooh.
Is that not perfect weather?
I'm into that.
Sign me up for Bogota.
Okay. Well, we're going to be doing some long distance podcasting.
Yeah. No shit.
You just on a beach in Colombia. Yeah. I'm hanging out in Sweden. Yeah. Just shoving meatballs up my ass. Yeah. Let's talk about the Simpsons.
That's not where they go, son. That's not the meatball hole. He's got the holes all goofed up.
The Americans. I don't know what accent that is.
It's a 50-50 shot. He keeps getting it wrong.
This is 18th meatball. Oh, but we did it. We did another batch of The Simpsons. America's Still a Nightmare.
We did it. Fine batch.
Good batch, yeah. I was into it. I liked the drug one because it had things to say. I liked the first 2 because they were funny.
Fucking funny. The other 2?
The other 2 were fine.
Didn't insult me. Yeah.
Nathan, we are in season 16 and it's fine. Remember all of the, it's no good after 8 or 10. People.
Doom and gloom. But still, I mean,
fine.
I worry what like season 26 could be like.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe once we get to that point, everything's a fucking nightmare.
Just like us, they turn to shit once they become grown-ups.
Oh,
you think
too
of that.
Real, Nathan. Yep. Oh, boy.
Well, keep showing up. We're going to be here.
We'll keep
You're obligated.
Yeah, why not? We can't get out of our contracts now. Next week are episodes 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 7 through 11 of season 16 of The Simpsons. You and I had I don't know, insert whatever adjective you want here, comedy trip to Lemon, South Dakota this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of adjective would you use for the show in Lemon?
I think...
He says getting real high-pitched.
I don't know what I would describe it as. I think I lucked out because I at least got to see what was coming ahead of me.
Sure.
So I knew there was no way to steer out of the oncoming collision, so I just braced for impact. I think so. Because I think I had a better time of it than you two did.
Yeah. Our dear friend Joe Christensen really laid on the grenade.
Yeah, he sure did. He went up for, because early on, he didn't know it was going to be that much of a nightmare.
Let's set the scene a little. There's 40 people? 50?
Ooh, no.
30?
30, let's see.
Okay, 30
25,
people.
30. 25,
I'm bad
30,
at numbers. And 5 of whom were into it?
I'd say generously at one point, maybe a peak of 7, maybe 8. 8.
A handful of spicy nuggets in there, actively against it.
Yep. And then just the rest are all just sad people that don't like to smile.
Yep, just staring blankly at a man telling jokes.
Yeah, it's like you could just not be here.
Yeah,
wouldn't this be so much more fun if you weren't here?
The show went so well that afterwards a man came up to our table and said, "Thanks for coming, boys. I hate stand-up comedy."
Yeah.
Sir, why are you here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could have done anything else with your day.
Like, it's like, oh, there's some guy from Malaysia. He does the lost art of running his fingers up and down a chalkboard. It's like an old-timey thing there. Like, I would, hey, that's cool.
I just wouldn't go.
I'm not going to go.
Like, why go to a thing that you actively dislike?
Yep.
So that was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But we got through it. We survived.
Yeah, I think I had the best of the bunch because, again, I was up last, which I thought was going to be the worst part of it, but it literally couldn't get worse. So it's just like, what could get worse? They threatened violence,
I think I had the money spot because Joe went up first and got just hollered at for half an hour.
Yeah,
and then I think most of the troublemakers went out to smoke, and then I went up and did a fucking 3 out of 10, which was the best of the night. And then after I was done, like, they weren't actively hostile towards you.
But they came back. I did notice that.
Yeah, they were back, but they were just talking loudly to each other. They weren't against you. They were just done.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by that point, I had watched enough of it to know who's engaged, and I just played to them.
Yeah, play to them. Play to the 5 people who want to be here.
6 angels that are smiling and engaged right now.
Yeah.
This is your special night.
Yeah. It was a real fucking nightmare.
Oh. I just think I'm so dulled to the nightmare.
You also revel in a train wreck a little more than I do.
I do. Yeah.
It still cuts me in a way that it doesn't.
When the
cut
show
you.
is really just there's no way to win, I don't feel bad at all.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a skill. Mm-hmm. That's a scab that will eventually develop. But yeah, it was a real fun time.
It's show business, baby. That's what it's all about.
Oh, you know what happens on Friday? October happens.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday, Nathan. As I do every year, I watch 31 horror movies, and I'll be collaborating, a hot collab.
Ooh, the mixtape.
A hot mixtape with our friends at Huntsville Home Video. We're going to make a podcast out of it, because why wouldn't everything be a podcast? So if you go and subscribe to Huntsville Home Video, you will get a fresh new podcast every day.
You ready for that, fuckers?
From the 3 of us just pumping out content.
You think you like that? You think you're getting ready for that? I don't think you're ready for that.
Open wide, baby. We got content to
so much
into
content.
Your ears.
These content sluts are craving your ear holes. They want to fill your ear holes with content. They're sick in the head. These dirty birds. They just want to dump so much content.
Okay, that's plenty.
You're into it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Things got weird.
I took some Street Fighter pills earlier. I'm going to black out.
I don't know what's up is down, left is right.
I'm sweating a lot.
So I want to fuck Optimus Prime. I took the wrong truck stop pills.
So head over to Huntsville Home Video on your podcast app of choice and look for that on Friday and every day all through October. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And we'll keep doing this show. Why not?
We'll be here.
Episodes, what did I say? 7 to 11? Yep. Let's do 7 to 11
What
for next
episode
week.
number will that be for us? We're getting close to 70.
That'll be 69, baby. Hey-o.
That's an impractical sexual position. There we go.
So that'll be next week. Find us on the internet at Barley Basket USA on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. BarleyBasketUSA@gmail.com. 7 through 11 of season 16 for next week, and we'll see you then.
Cool. See ya. Bye.